This episode of Off My Shelf contains coarse language and adult conversation. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, my name is Tracy James, and welcome to Off My Shelf, a podcast about movies that are, well, off my shelf, where we go through my DVDs and talk about the movies in my collection. In this episode, Alix Cook joins me in talking about two films that are so 90s, it hurts, with Magnolia and Mallrats. Welcome!
Hey! These were a very strange juxtaposition.
Yes, they were.
Even by the standards of your podcast, very strange juxtaposition.
I mean, I think I've had stranger, because at least, like I said, these two movies are just so quintessentially 90s, for a 90s drama and a 90s comedy, that I was just these are just so 90s. I'm there.
Yeah, slingshot back in time.
Yeah. My favorite thing was in Magnolia with the flip phones, and people were just I don't know where these people are and I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. I'm just call them, and oh, they don't have, just okay, never mind, gotcha, it's all good.
Yeah, technology has changed the trajectory of cinema a great deal that way, because plot points that used to be totally reasonable are now just okay, you're just being stupid, come on now.
It's very true. Yeah,
cell phones have gotten rid of so much of the drama from previous generations. Although I do enjoy the way that not specific to these movies, but the way that the world of movies just collectively decided answering machines still exist. It's every movie is a slight alternate universe where answering machines are still a thing so they can hear messages.
Yeah, which still really confuses me because nobody I know leaves a voicemail besides my mother anymore. And everybody else is just if they call, the few times people call, they'll call. If I don't pick up, they just hang up. And I'm all right, that's just fine. Because people know people don't listen to messages anymore.
Right. Text or GTFO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must admit, I am old school. I don't mind. I do freak people out when I call them because usually I'm just oh my God, what happened? What's the emergency? I'm just it was just easier for me to call right now. Oh, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, unless I'm in the middle of making plans with somebody and the texts are really going sideways, I'm I almost never call anybody. I mean, other than my parents,
obviously. Watching Philip Seymour Hoffman and Philip Seymour Hoffman. Yeah, no, it is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, it is Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I'm just there's a couple of Phillips in that movie, and I was just whatever. Anyways, but watching him run to buy Hustler to find the phone number for the telemarketer to get the thing, I was just open laptop, Google phone number.
Yeah. That scene is so great where he orders the stuff and he orders those, and then the woman's yeah, so did you still want the bread and the peanut butter? And he's low-key offended. I don't think he got it because he in his mind he's on this pure mission, and she's just okay, buddy, peanut butter, whatever.
It's true. She probably gets calls all the time.
In the 90s, I worked in a video store, which was a neighborhood one, not a Blockbuster, that had a massive porn section. So the squirrely shit porn dudes did in the 90s. I was kind of an expert. Subtly browse the candy until the dude cashier is open. I used to work with a guy on Friday nights, and the line dispersion was hilarious. The two of us used to just smirk at each other all the time. It was we see you, bro.
Oh, what could he possibly be doing? I do not know.
Well, that's odd. You don't want to step up to the next available cashier? I wonder why. It's I don't care what you're renting unless it's a particularly funny porn title. I don't give a shit. A good goddamn.
Yeah, I find the best ones are the pun titles. Those ones are always great.
Thank God. The first time that I ever caught a glimpse of Weapons of Ass Destruction, I was returning it because I literally fell over. The coworker was just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was sitting there with like my arm on the edge of the return box, just like cackling. Yeah.
I was like, you're returning it, but I'm like, no, you work there, therefore you're sending it over back to the distributor or whatever, right? I get it.
Somebody dropped it off as a return instead of me like going to pick it off the shelf to rent it to somebody and then completely losing my dignity and destroying theirs in the process.
But it's a great title.
It is a great title. That's why I laughed for 5 minutes. But porn guys don't like that.
No.
It's another thing I learned.
They need to be taken.
They don't
very
like it
seriously.
when we laugh, no matter how justified.
We'll leave their ego intact and stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, what did you think about your rewatch of Magnolia?
That's a good question. So I loved this movie. Like I saw it in the theater when it came out and I bought a copy of it, which obviously I couldn't find. I had to pay to rent it for this because that's just my life. There were things that I still loved about it, but also I forgot that it was just like Anxiety, the movie. So like 10 minutes in, I was just like, oh, good God, what have I done? Why did I agree to this? And then like the 2.5 hour mark, I was like, okay, this has been rad, but we're basically wrapped up, just one more thing. And then it was like, there's still another like 35 minutes. How? Why? So yeah,
that's one thing
I had mixed feelings about it, I guess.
Yeah, that's one thing I found out with this. I thought it was, for what it was, I thought it was way too long. Like I really did.
Like, yeah. And there's some really amazing stuff in there, you know, like I had sort of forgotten because Tom Cruise just like plays Tom Cruise's avatar now in every movie. So like, which I mean, it's a shtick and he's like banking it. So, you know, go buddy, go. But like, I forgot that he's actually a really good actor. Like so good. That scene where this is his father at the best, I was just like, oh, I don't even want to watch this. It's so painful. Like, my God.
This is one of those movies where, because like you said, like Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise in everything now. Like he's just Tom Cruise.
He has a shtick and he sticks to it and like, Godspeed, bro.
But like, even though this was like in the like middle of his like fame, you know, which he's still famous, we get it. But like, you don't see him as Tom Cruise in this. You see him as the character he's playing, which is what people want and what people go for. And I was just like shocked. I was like, oh, I forgot, you know, like the reason why he's famous is because he can do the thing. He's like he can act.
Talented actor. And like this movie, even like at the time, was a major departure for him, right? Because he was like the clean cut, like blockbuster movie star. And then he does this whole like despicable, vulgar role that like, because like, okay, let's be real. I have a mouth like a damn trucker. And there were a few times where even I was like clutching my metaphorical pearls with some of the stuff that came out of people's mouths in this movie. Like, oh yeah, I just like turned into John C. Reilly and was like, ooh, language. So like that literally never happens to me. Usually people are doing that to me. So
I mean, they did say the C word way too many times for my liking, and I was just like, yeah, I get it, but can we not?
His slogan,
I don't want
his slogan. Yeah, respect the cock, tame the cunt. It's like, well, that's certainly to the point. Okay,
yes it is.
But yeah, you don't expect to see it coming out of his mouth, and like, I think the last Tom Cruise movie that I actually watched was probably when I watched Interview with the Vampire for this podcast, which like. That did not remind me that Tom Cruise is a good actor because, oh my God, like that kind of scenery chewing is supposed to be British. But anyhow, like.
Yeah, nobody in that movie reminded us about good acting in any way, shape, or form. So,
no, it was just a festival of failure all around. I mean, a delightful one. And I love it. But like. Nobody's putting that top of their resume.
Very little Kristen Dunst was very good at chewing scenery the right way.
To be fair, yeah, she was actually like the most qualified person in that movie, and she was 11. So She had to kiss Brad Pitt and she thought it was gross.
That's what an 11-year-old is supposed to think.
Yes,
correct.
Yes. A plus.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Like, I find like most of this movie, I forgot how intense this movie was. I don't know why or how. Like, I remember there were like serious parts of it because I know it's a drama. It's P.T. Anderson. Like, I get it, but I didn't expect myself the whole movie to just be like, this is upset. I don't know. I can't. What's the? Like that whole thing kept happening the whole time, like throughout the whole movie.
I remembered it being very intense, and like I remember watching it in the theater and being like so angry because I went with a group of friends, and the people who were sitting on either side of me were both like fidgeters who were just like twitching and sighing like, this is boring the whole movie. And I was just like, at some point I was like, guys, seriously, like shut the fuck up and stop moving. I'm trying to watch a film. Like, oh my God. So like I sort of like vaguely remember, but I didn't really remember how that like manifested. So then some of the storylines I was like, oh yes, I remember this. And the others, like the thing with Julianne Moore, I was just like, where is this going? Like I've seen this movie like probably half a dozen times and I have no idea like what's happening here.
I honestly did not remember the toad rain at the end, which because I was sitting there
that was one of the things I did remember.
Because I was sitting there going like, isn't Julianne Moore supposed to be in like an ambulance at some point? Like what's happening? And then they show like the clear street, the ambulance is going by and the guy's waiting at the light. I'm like, oh, that guy probably hits her. I was like, no. What is
that would not be very P.T. Anderson of it, would it?
No, it can't be quote unquote normal. No.
Yeah.
So
do we want to get straight into the frogs or do we want to like put that off? Because
we can talk about the frogs because like I understand. Okay, this is what I got from the movie, that the movie is actually about like no matter how strange coincidences have to be to come together to make this like weird thing happen, the weirdest things can always happen, right? Sure. And I think the frogs happen because they're just like, it's just a perfect series of events happens, frog rain. That's what I got out of it.
Right.
And it's about like these, people like colliding with each other, but I don't know why he picked frog rain. It could have been lots of things, but
like the rain of frogs is biblical, right? Like, and it's a threat. Like it's part of the threat against like Pharaoh to release the people, so like, I don't know. Because it's not a particularly religious movie. They just sort of like borrowed this incredibly religious. I don't know. I tried to look it up because obviously when I saw it in the theater, I just had to like make my own conclusions because Google was like not so much a thing. Exactly. I could just be like, what do the frogs in Magnolia mean? But then I tried that today and I read a couple articles and I was just like, well, this is extremely pretentious word salad and I have no further answers. So
you're Googling things from like film students.
Well, yeah, like I read a couple explanations and I was like, reading comprehension isn't an issue I have particularly, but like those words literally don't mean anything in that order. Like you're just talking for the sake of it.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure he, at some point in time, he's just like, I picked frog rain because of this. We just need to find that thing.
He did actually specify that it was in reference to like the biblical plague and whatever, and which is sort of like a wake up call of like your current behavior is unacceptable, and if you don't change, like bad shit's gonna happen, and the frogs are one of the bad things. So like for all these people, they're all sort of like at a crossroads, right? And this is like a wake up call, just like, hey, pay attention and do better. Which fair, but also like, why is it raining frogs? And also, why did it rain a gun? What was the deal with the kid?
I was confused about the gun. And I was just like, this doesn't make any sense.
That's the thing. If they hadn't done that, it would have been like, okay, this could be like a climate thing that's like a coincidence, non-coincidence, and I can like kind of roll with it. But as soon as that gun showed up, I was just like, okay, this is.
Well, the whole thing is too, throughout the movie, they kept showing the weather, like, partly sunny today, lots of rain, or blah, blah, blah. And so that's why it was just like, oh no, it's just like a perfect storm of weather fronts that caused this thing to happen. So there's like a tornado over a lake somewhere. It came this way and it fell.
Yeah, like the scuba diver thing, who was Patton Oswalt, which was hilarious.
Which was so, like, he showed up and I was like, it's Patton Oswalt.
Hey, buddy. Same with Clark Gregg.
Yes.
Like, oh, hey.
Because I looked at him a few times and she was like, is that Clark Gregg? Is that? And then I, IMDb'd it.
There's that
like,
one
I was correct.
shot where you're just like, oh, that's definitely Clark. Yeah. Everybody is in this movie. It's wild. I mean, I guess
so many people.
And like very famous, talented people in very tiny roles. Like what Alfred Molina had, what, like
3 lines,
37 seconds of screen time or something. It was like, you cast him for like one conversation. I mean,
it was
good
great.
For you.
And he yelled.
But also, dang.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I felt like Luis Guzman played Luis Guzman, which I thought was hilarious. Because if you look at the credits, it's himself.
I mean, to be fair, that's like kind of his shtick.
That's true. I thought that was really funny though.
That's not the first or the last time he's done that.
I must admit though, like I greatly dislike everybody in this movie except for the kid, Stanley. I think Stanley is his name.
Oh, poor Stanley. His father is terrible. And also not Bradley Whitford, which is confusing.
Yes.
Because I will admit I was doing something else when he first showed up and they're like having the conversation in the car. And I was like, oh, I didn't remember Bradley Whitford is in this movie. And then I like the next time I turned to the screen, I was like, oh, imposter. Another guy.
Fake. Yes.
Yeah.
It's the pod person version of him, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think one of my biggest problems while watching this movie, which made me even more uncomfortable, surprisingly, is that I just didn't like anybody. And I was like, you guys all suck.
People are terrible.
Yeah. But like my biggest, like usually in a movie like this, there's something redeemable somewhere about these people.
Yeah.
There was nothing redeemable about anybody besides Stanley. And I guess.
Well, no, that's not totally true. Some of them.
I'm making a face. I'm waiting
for everybody
to hear it.
Following along at home. I just got some incredible side eye. I don't know. I thought John C. Reilly was pretty good. Like,
no, he's an asshole. I don't like that character in any way.
I think he's pretty clueless, but I think he's trying his best.
No, he is a very bad cop who does incorrect things.
Okay.
Well, so we all know about like the cop propaganda on TV when it comes to procedurals and stuff. They always try to, even when they show a guy's a bad cop, they try to show there's a reason for him to be a bad cop, right? Which is something they clearly did in this movie in the two ways he interacts with a Black woman and a white woman. Because when you first meet him, he just walks into the house of a Black woman who obviously, this is my house, starts yelling. Now, they make it okay because there was a crime committed on the premises.
Literally a body in the closet.
Yes.
And no, you're right. That scene is pretty brutal.
But when he goes into the white woman's house, yes, he knocks aggressively, but he knocks. She opens the door and he just talks to her. He doesn't aggressively walk into her apartment. He doesn't push her out of the way. He asks politely. And yes, you're going to say, oh, but he thinks she's pretty. Also, wrong, because he is there on an official business.
No, that's true. But also, like, he was called to one because the music was too loud and the other because there was a violent fight. So he's going to go in differently. I'm not saying that his behavior was correct because it wasn't, obviously, but also like, and like asking her out was a bit skeevy for sure.
Yes. Yeah. But
so how come he didn't know she was coked to the gills? I guess what I'm saying is like, he's not really exactly knocking it out of the park in literally any capacity, but he's at least trying. Like most of the other people are not, like he's like at least thinking about like, how can I be a good cop? How can I like help people? How can I like, I don't want to be somebody who rushes to judgment. Like there's at least like some sort of internal something there. Whereas everybody else is pretty much just like, no, it's totally fine that I molested my daughter as long as I don't ever talk about it. Or like, yeah, sure, women are objects and I'm going to like teach people how to be better rapists or whatever. Like, I don't know. I feel like he and like Quiz Kid Donnie Smith are both like, they have some internal something going on at least where most of the other people don't.
Well, I think, Quiz Kid, yes, I do agree with you. He does have a problem and I understand him, but I still don't like him because instead of looking at what he's done with his life, and yes, his parents did him wrong, but he blames everybody besides himself for his own actions.
By the end of it, he's starting to think about what a positive change might look like, I guess.
Yeah.
That's kind of the best you get. That's like sort of the best you get in this movie, because as you said, everybody is terrible.
Yes. But my problem with John C. Reilly's character is with like the monologuing that he does by himself and the things he's doing. And even you mentioned, he's like, no, he wants to do good. But the problem is that he believes he is good, but the things that he does not show that he's good in any way, because he does do snap judgments. He does, take things into. Oh, there's a doggy. He does take like the wrong way to do things. Like, yes, you're out there looking for someone to love you and everything, but showing up at a clearly coked out woman's house. And then she agrees to go on a date with you just so you don't arrest her. Like, but later on, yes, it's weird, but it's better. But at the same time, no, she's only there because she's like, I don't want to go to jail. It's
weird because that's kind of why she says yes. But then she's the one, like, she kind of like, she does sort of like seem to be into it later, which is odd.
Which is very odd.
I mean, that whole storyline is weird because, again, she's like obviously like geek to the eyeballs, and he's just like, I'm sure it's fine.
Well, he does ask her several times if she's on drugs and just believes her when she says no. Well,
yeah, but like,
it's very confusing.
Why?
Yeah. Like, even a person who is not trained in law enforcement or spotting when people are high, I was like, that chick's high. Like, that was it.
Also, how did the actors make her eyes glassy like that?
I don't know.
I was quite impressed because she looks like just.
They probably have like drops or something put in there, but
I guess I don't know.
There are some actors who can like make their eyes watery on cue and stuff. So
yeah, I guess I could probably do that, but yeah. I don't know. I was just impressed because she looks extremely high in every single moment in that movie. Yeah. And there's no way she could have been high every moment. So
I also feel sorry for her because she's the only one who's randomly nude at parts. I'm just like, but also it's not necessary at all.
Yeah, well, I mean, we still haven't grown out of that as an industry all the way. But yeah. I don't know. I guess she's another one who's kind of like thinking about making a change at least. Like, so I
felt sorry for her, but I didn't like her.
Well, I mean, we didn't really see anything except like coke and light hysteria. So, and like her reaction to her father was absolutely sensible and lovely. Like, yes, if your abuser invades your house and tries to talk shit to you, like, scream until he flees. Go.
Yeah, and he's only there to get sympathy for himself. He's not there to amends or apologize. It's just no, I'm here to tell you I'm dying.
And try and get her to call her mother because it's pretty awkward for him that his wife is, like.
Yeah, if your wife asks you, it doesn't matter what has ever happened to you. If your wife asks you if you've ever molested their child and your automatic response isn't no, guess what? You probably did. Just.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't remember. That is not no. That is not an answer. That is.
Well, if you don't remember and she says yes, then.
You probably did.
Bad news. Also, you're a children's game show host. That's so troubling.
Well, the thing that made me mad about it is that whole segment made me think of Alex Trebek, and I love Alex Trebek. He wouldn't break or whatever. He would never. But all I was thinking, I was just like, oh, game show host that has cancer who's going to die soon. I was just like, oh, I miss.
And is carrying on working. Oh, I didn't even make that connection. Thanks a fucking lot, Tracy.
Sorry. No, because there were like stories and stuff like right after he died that like they would be like filming his like last episodes and stuff where they'd have to take more breaks and stuff, and he would literally just cry in pain, get back up, wipe his tears, and just go back to work. And you're just like, no, what is no? But yeah. So that's what I was thinking of every time he came on. Like, I was just like, you're a gross person, but now I'm thinking about Alex Trebek. Now I'm sad. So thanks a lot for nothing.
Yeah.
It was very upsetting.
Yeah. The actor was excellent because you could like, even when you sort of sympathize with him, he wasn't all that sympathetic.
Yeah, he died the other day.
He did. He just died recently.
He did. Yeah.
I was like, I know his face. And I was like, he's like a, hey, it's that guy a little bit. And I was like, yeah, I've like seen him and stuff, but I don't know where the like impression I have of like what he sounds like. I don't know what it was that he was in that I like, you know, really associate him with, whatever. And then I started watching this and I was like, oh, it's this fucking guy. That's probably where the imprint in my brain came from. And I'd like completely forgotten that whole storyline.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I always remember him. Well, when he died, all the articles were referring to this, but he's like, they call him like the best guest performer on a like sitcom ever because he did that episode of Seinfeld. He was Mr. Bookman, like the library cop or whatever.
I'm staunchly anti-Seinfeld, so that means nothing to me. But
why? It's funny. Also, yeah, there are also people that you're not supposed to like. Really,
it's a bunch of ugly people being mean to each other. Where is the upside?
That's.
Also, a lot of the comedy involves other people being embarrassed or like, no,
it's usually about them embarrassing themselves.
Also bad. I
mean, that's part of the humor of it.
I know, and I hate it. Anyone who's into it is welcome to go ahead and watch it, but don't try to make me watch it.
I will not make you watch it, even though I think it's great. But also, I can't argue with anything that you're complaining about because it's true. That's what it is. It's mean people being mean to each other and the people around them in a city that is hard.
Yeah.
So,
I can't handle secondhand embarrassment, and I don't like ugly people being mean to each other. So,
no,
out. Arrested Development is out.
Elaine's pretty. Arrested Development?
I can't even express to you. Like, I don't even have words for how much I hate that show. And I sat through the first like 4 or 5 episodes. Like, I made a concerted effort, and then it was like, okay, everybody who ever asked me about this again, like, hard no. Just fuck right off. I hate this show. I hate everything it stands for. These people are abhorrent, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I like when you say that. You're just like, oh, you know, I have to say all these mean things about the show. I'm like, no, you're saying facts. Those are facts about the show.
Yeah. I don't know. People like to give me shit about stuff that I refuse to consume. And I'm just like, so now I'm all like spiky about it.
Yeah. People do that to me too, especially since
you just have to watch whatever. Like, no, I don't.
The worst part is when people are just like, oh no, you just have to watch like the first 2.5 seasons and then it gets good. And I was just like, no,
the fucking Wire. I've watched the first season of The Wire, like most of it, like 3 separate times trying to get into it because I like love Generation Kill with a passion and it's the same people.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do it. That one's just ugly people being incompetent. Like, no.
I mean,
the main character is like completely incompetent, drunk, and unlikable. I mean, 2 of those things I can handle.
I think you know this is that I haven't watched The Wire simply out of spite at this point because people kept telling me it's the greatest thing ever. How come you haven't been watching it? You have to watch it. And then I got to a point where it's like, no, right. I just want to piss all of you off.
Like not put in the work and was like, no, this just is like not my thing, and that does not dissuade people. So
well, that's like me with Sopranos. People get mad about.
No,
too.
I also did not. I watched a couple episodes of that. And I was like, I'm so bored. I want to die.
Well, exactly. And I just had no interest in any of the content and stuff. And I was just like, I'm good. Thank you very much. Walking away. But like, what are you talking about? It's amazing. And blah blah blah.
It's that not for me.
Yeah, that and Lost, I think, was the other one where people got really mad.
I got really into that show and then it betrayed me.
That's what everybody says that likes it. It's like,
it betrayed me way early. I didn't get all the way to like the real shit. It like I saw a red flag at like the beginning of season 3 and was like, nope, I'm out.
Is that the polar bear in the mist?
No,
the bunker with the numbers.
Are you kidding me? The polar bear chaps are one of my favorite things about that show.
Why?
They had no budget, so they literally put somebody in like fuzzy white chaps and made them run through a field of tall grass for the polar bear. Oh yeah. I didn't just come up with polar bear chaps out of nowhere. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. There was not all the fuckery on that show was in the writer's room.
All right. So thing I have to do when we're done recording is look up polar bear chaps. Done. Mm-hmm. We're gonna do this. Yes.
That's a thing.
Yes.
Yep.
The only way I ever bonded with Lost was I think it was in This Is 40 when the daughter is obsessed with watching Lost, and at the end of the movie she finishes and she's crying because she's so into it and she understands but doesn't understand, and I'm just like, I get it. Still not watching Lost, but I get you, kid. You're good. You're good. I like this.
Well, they had such an interesting philosophy because they were like, because it's such a weird like conspiracy show, right? That they had like they had a board in the writer's room with all like the questions that the viewers wanted answered, basically, like things that they'd thrown out there. And they weren't allowed to ask another question until they checked one off the list.
Okay.
It's like, okay, we're not going to like discuss what the smoke monster is today, but like we're wondering about the backstory of this character. So like if we want to introduce a polar bear, we have to like, knock something else off the list, explain something so that it didn't get like, so that it allegedly wouldn't get totally out of hand. And they talked about this and they obviously followed it for the first couple seasons. So it was like, you know, you would get a new question, but you would actually also get some information. And then they just like got away from their own philosophy and would be like, yeah, we have to answer a question. Sawyer's not big on mangoes. Next, like here's a whole new like military installation on an island. And it was like, this is not, you know, I wouldn't have held you to that standard if you hadn't told me that was your standard. And now you've like just totally...
Yeah, but I also heard that they had a storyline for a specific amount of seasons, but then the network insisted they do like 2 more seasons, and then that was part of the problem as well because they're just like, oh, we're our story finishes here. Supernatural. Yeah, you know, they're like, no, our story's going this way, and then there's like, screw the end there.
Yeah.
Throw in a bunch of stuff in the middle there, and then do something on the end.
I mean, they dropped the ball on a few things even from the original timeline, but yes, having it artificially extended did nobody any favors.
Yeah, because I think especially when you start writing something like that, knowing it's got like a finite point, you write in a very specific way to hit that point,
kind of
right?
For a show like that, you kind of have to, because like Lost was sort of like the legacy of the X-Files, right? That's why it got so popular, because people who loved that kind of like weird conspiracy crazy, like there was sort of like a vacuum, right? And Lost stepped into it and was like, we have some crazy for you, and like we have a whole plan, it's going to be great. And then
it all fell apart. And
then it got X-Filed.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Anyway, that was a massive aside.
It's fine. I don't know. I think
the shows we just talked about in Magnolia, because there are like a million people in Magnolia.
Oh, probably. There's probably crossover somewhere in there. I would not be surprised.
I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. went off the rails, and Phil Coulson.
Oh, they went so far off the shields. Oh my God, yes. Yeah, I think I got to like season 3 and I was like, I can't do this anymore. That's when they were just like,
I have aspirations to finish it, but yeah, I didn't. I was like the crazy fangirl, and then one day I was just like, oh God, I can't do this.
What? Then they were like in like a robot universe or something where, you know, one of them was evil, and then they got out of it, and then there was like 4 seasons of time travel, and Quake destroyed
pretty
the
much
Earth.
Any show can lose me at time travel. It's just like not my thing, because
yeah, but they did time travel real stupid. Like real stupid. Like,
is there an unstupid way to do time travel? This is my point. Like,
yes. Have you not seen Terminator or Back to the Future? Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
You're like, I hate all of this. I'm gonna go now.
I don't hate it, but it's like not. It's fundamentally different because those aren't TV shows.
I mean, but they are series.
Ish.
It's not
some parts better than others.
It's not like I said Time Cop. Like, come on.
Okay, we can't go down. This is not a fruitful line of inquiry. No. Let's go back to talking about dying people and how terrible they are.
Yes. Again, I hate everybody in this movie. But everybody, I think
Mad Father Jamboree. Cancer.
I think the reason why I hate everybody is because all of the actors did a great job at properly portraying the characters they were given.
There's no,
you're just like,
there's no weak link acting wise.
No,
like everyone's wonderful, and even like Felicity Huffman is like,
she got me so angry.
She's
so
great.
Angry.
Yeah.
Anytime a boss asks her a question, she's like, "Oh, I don't know why they did that. I have no idea."
Yeah.
Like, but you were there. It's your fault.
You know, actually, you fucked this up. But yeah.
And the dad made me really angry, and just
prime. Because they're sort of like he was on the unrepentant side, right? Where he's like actually explaining how he like emotionally abuses his child to make money off him. Yeah. Just casually like, oh yeah, you can't actually be nice to them. You just have to like.
But that's the thing. It wasn't even casual. He was just like, he's like, I will give you a seminar. This is the way you do it. Just like, you know, Tom Cruise's character. And I'm just like, are you proud of this? Like, why are you proud of this? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, it's like, a lot of people like me and you who have, sense and was like, children need to be nourished and treated well, not exploited. And we're just like, oh my God, that's fucking crazy. But there's so many people out there who would be like that guy.
I don't even particularly like children, but I want way better for them than that. Like, as a species, they need a lot of care and thought.
Yeah.
I don't have them because I don't want to put in that care and thought.
Well, because all that happens is if you have a parent like that, you end up with an asshole adult. And then, the world doesn't need any more assholes. Thank you very much.
No, we're full up.
Yes. Oh my God.
No, it's true.
There's too many out there.
Yeah. But it's also kind of hilarious, like the juxtaposition with the kids and the parent, because like the other two kids are obviously like they're kind of like following that same path, right? Like somehow the most like aggressively manipulative and terrible parent has like the sweetest, most naive child, and the other two are just like, oh, I don't give a shit about this. Like I just like want everything I can get from it, right? Like they're like cynical showbiz children, and somehow like Stanley, even despite his environment, is just like, I just want to learn things, leave me alone.
Yeah, he loves to learn, but also the other two kids on his team are doing exactly what his father does to him, which is exploiting him, because they don't answer any of the questions. Only he's answering the questions. He's the one. It's not a team, it's a person, and he's the one who's winning.
He says
and
no, it all falls apart.
Yeah, he's their cash cow, and and I think besides peeing himself on stage, I think that's the thing that breaks him. Is just like, I'm a cash cow for my father. I'm a cash cow for you.
Yeah.
Why am I here?
There's literally not a single person in his life who doesn't want something from him.
Yeah. Or it's just
they can't even be like, give him like basic respect or like, a
little bit of dignity or understanding, or just listen to him for 3 seconds,
Yeah. No, that poor kid.
Yeah. Also, that quiz show was hard. I mean, I think I'm a pretty smart person and know a bunch of random shit, but I was nothing else like, what are you?
Oh, no. What? Yeah, no, I'm usually very good at trivia. And I was just like, and I've seen this movie before. I still don't know the answers. Shit. I mean, the opera thing, like that's not a coincidence. I'm just not into opera, but.
Yeah, but usually even on quiz shows, if there's an opera category, it's Phantom of the Opera and Aida, or Madame Butterfly. You just gotta know a couple of titles.
Carmen,
Carmen, that's another one.
Yeah, if you're gonna play an opera clip and make somebody identify it, and it's not Carmina Burana, are you even a movie? But like,
there's no point.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that whole quiz show thing was so weird.
It really was. It came off like super surreal, but also, even though like the movie takes place in the 90s, that set was very 70s. So it's also kind of like, it felt like a time warp within the time period. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I don't specifically recall that about watching it the first time, but yeah, even in 99 when I saw it in the theater, like that would have been like a weird throwback thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it didn't, that wasn't.
It's like the Merv Griffin show. Like, what is happening? Glitter and lights and big words. You're just like, all right.
Yeah, it's like I didn't ever watch stuff that looked like this, and I was like a teenager in the 90s. So.
Exactly. Everything had already turned into big screens and stuff already, so it just made no sense.
I mean, to be fair, the only show, like game show I ever watched was Jeopardy, but
me too. Well, no, I've watched
a cut above.
No, I've dabbled in a few of the others, but no, Jeopardy's the only one that stuck. I love Jeopardy.
Yeah, the others just don't appeal to me, and like even Wheel of Fortune, like I am comically bad at that. Like I can't do crosswords, I can't play Scrabble, I suck at Wheel of Fortune, like all the English major vocabulary in the world, and I'm just like nope.
No.
I have no idea.
Okay at Wheel of Fortune, but it always surprises me how quick the contestants are. Like they'll have like 3 letters on a board that has like 50 letters on it, and there's like a Z, a Q, and an R, and they get it. I'm just like, how are you doing this? This is crazy.
Yeah, we never watched it in my head, but like I bet my mom would have been a whiz at it because she's like the queen of crosswords. She like sits down with a pen and is just like, and I'm like, if she's doing a crossword and I'm in the room, I'll get questions like what's like this member of One Direction's name, and I'm like, oh, I know that one, but like 3 in 1 crossword is my limit.
And I don't know that one.
Otherwise, I'm like, I don't know.
No.
I got nothing.
I don't know. I think with Wheel of Fortune, it's the visual aspect of it. Like they don't give you a clue as to what it is. Like,
sure.
They say it's
a category, isn't it?
They say it. No, yeah, but they say it's a thing. That is everything.
Oh,
that is not helpful.
Like a lyric or an expression or something. But like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm very bad at it because of that. I'm just like, I don't know. And then they're like, muffin tin. Like, how did you? What? There's an eye on the screen.
A single eye, and somehow, yeah. No, with Jeopardy, I'm Stanley. With Wheel of Fortune, I'm Donnie.
Yeah, that's the way it is. There was one scene. Okay, first of all, we have to talk about Amy Mann's soundtrack or music, because this like made her a household name at the time. Like people were just like, I know who Amy Mann, because the songs in this movie have become so popular, even though they're all depressing.
Ugh, I hate them. I hate them so much because I don't hate them. I just hate that they make me feel things. It's exactly.
It's true. Like her songs are so manipulative. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're
But there is one scene though that kind of frustrates me, that they tried too hard to make you feel something, which in the end kind of ruined it. Because there's a part where they're like, there's cuts to each person and the song "It's Not Going to Stop" is playing.
Oh, and they're singing it?
Yeah, and I was just like,
oh, that was awful. I completely forgot about that because I was so mad about it.
And it was bad.
It was really poor. There was they could have done those cuts without the singing and it would have been great, but instead they like broke the fourth wall like idiots for no reason. Yeah. There was no payoff to that.
Yeah, because I mean, it starts with the girl putting the song on in her plays. Yeah. So when she starts singing, she starts singing to it makes sense. But you're cutting to other scenes and you're just like, is the song on the radio? Does everybody have the same radio station on? What is happening
John C.
here?
Reilly is sitting in his little monk habit, like singing this. Like, John C. Reilly does not know the song. Shut up.
No. Or Stanley sitting in a dark library.
Yeah, that part was really dumb. Yeah. And also, speaking of misuse of music, I know they do this on purpose, but it's like a massive pet peeve of mine. The scenes where there's a conversation happening between the characters, but you can't really hear it because the song is playing.
Yep.
They do that off. Either let us hear the dialogue or don't have any dialogue. None of this half-assed, like, I don't know what's happening, and now I'm like angry and anxious. I hate that. I hate it.
Like, especially with John C. Reilly and what's his name? Like, they're going through the store at the end.
Claudia and Jim.
Yes. So they're going through the store, the song's playing, and like you can hear bits of their conversation. But my question is, do you think they were given actual like script things to say?
Oh, yes.
Or do you think it was just like, just walk and talk, guys?
No, I'm pretty sure everything was scripted, because I think if you are not like an absolute maniac control freak, you do not make this movie.
That's true. That would make sense. Yes.
Like, okay. You can't, like, you cannot be a normal person about that. You have to be a massive control freak, especially with all the like Easter eggy shit and like whatever. You can't, like, it all falls apart if the person in charge isn't like insane. So I can't imagine them being like, oh yeah, just ad lib the dialogue people might actually be able to hear. Nah. No. Nah. Subtitles exist.
They do. Yeah, maybe I should put that on next time.
You can't just.
Yeah. I find, like, I know for some reason right now, a lot of people are into having subtitles on, even if they know the language. But I just find it, especially if it's like a film that is in English and people are speaking English and things it's going on the bottom, I get so distracted by it. Oh. And I'm just like, I have to turn them off. Like, it drives me crazy.
I was always like that a little bit, where I focus on the subtitles, even when I can hear the dialogue and understand it. But also, I used to have a job where I had to check the sync of closed captioning, so I'm like ruined forever.
Oh God, yes.
Like I can't.
Your brain is like, no, you have to look at this to make sure that's what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Just like if a regular movie, especially in the theater, if like the sync is soft and like the dialogue and like the picture is off by like 1/87th of a second, I'm just like, oh no.
Like everything is ruined.
Soft sync. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's wonderful that things are subtitled, and I feel like subtitles have gotten a lot better, which is incredible because it makes things so much more accessible. Like my mom is quite hard of hearing, so often if I watch something with her, like we do put them on, especially if they're accents, it's just easier. But like, so I love that exists, but also, yeah, I'll just be staring at the words and completely missing stuff on the screen, and it's like I can hear fine and I speak English. What the fuck am I doing?
Exactly. But what's weird about, like, I agree with you. Like, I think it's very necessary. Never take it out, keep it going and everything. But when I'm watching a film that is not English and they've got the English subtitles, it's like the subtitles meld into the movie. And it just suddenly like, I'm clearly reading it. This is the only way I'd understand it. Like they're speaking like Japanese or Russian or something. But like, I stopped realizing I'm reading the subtitles after a little while. And I'm like, oh. So like, I always think it's really weird. I'm like, just because it's in English, why can't your brain do that? No, I think also partially my brain just like, is that what he's saying? Is it? Just like you want to check.
Yeah. And also, right. Sometimes they don't always exactly follow the dialogue, which is annoying. And like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not very good at it with foreign languages either. That's one of the reasons I don't watch a lot of foreign films. Yeah. Above and beyond being like boring and uncultured. But they're like, I just don't. I mean, me being boring and uncultured. That sounded bad, but like, yeah, I struggle with that in general, but yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I find too with foreign language films, there's often times where you're just like, the person who translated this is not a native English speaker, or something, or they've used, they've used like a phrase that's hard to like translate, like things get lost,
Yeah.
So like you'll see like somebody write a sentence and you're just like, that sentence doesn't quite make sense.
Not what that says.
Yeah, like what does it actually mean? And that's the thing that always gets me, where I'm just like, you've said something weird, something lost in translation here.
For me, watching a movie in French, because I don't really speak French, but I know just enough of it to get in trouble. So yeah, same deal where they like, somebody says that and then I look at the subtitle and I'm like, that's not what I just heard. I actually understood a thing. That wasn't it. What the hell?
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how Magnolia is subtitled, because like, yeah, they do a lot of that where the music like covers the dialogue, or so it'd be interesting. Do they like subtitle lyrics to stuff?
Well, I know in some films they do, like they'll put the lyrics to the song like on the screen, or I've also seen the title of the song and the artist
and the little music
notes, and that's it. Where I'm just like, that's not helpful.
That's the opposite of helpful, actually, because you're telling them it's important, but not why.
You're like, maybe putting the lyrics to the song will explain the scene that's happening. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's the whole point of putting that song in there. Yeah. I will say though that like snaps to P.T. Anderson for choosing Amy Mann to do this and not just like licensing random songs, because this movie is like ripe with the opportunity to stick Alleluia somewhere terrible, and they did not. Yeah. So
I'm very happy that did not happen.
Yeah. That is one of my biggest pet peeves in all of television and movies, is people using that song.
I love it when it shows up in like the weirdest places. You're like, why is this here?
Oh, network television is awful for that. And you're like, oh, is it another body on a gurney while they put the sheet over the face and we have to listen to Alleluia for 5 fucking minutes?
Oh, and the scene is in slow motion. You have to remember that. That's very important. The scene is always in slow motion.
Yeah. Obviously, dimly lit slow motion of something tragic. And it's just like, this is like, I mean, yeah, no, just total hack shit.
Yeah, and it's raining.
Supervisors should know better. Yeah. To be honest, they probably do.
Yeah, but they've also learned how to pull people's strings, right? Like,
right.
It's like I think it's done so often because when it was first done, it was done right. Now I have to look at when it was first done. In the right
context, it is absolutely heartbreaking. But in the context of like every network show that's ever had a bad thing happen, like,
Yeah.
Oh, get the blue light from the ambulance on the window as somebody cries, time for hallelujah. Like,
yes.
Hacky shit. I hate it.
So hacky.
I didn't know best way have so many music opinions related to this movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with you. Like, one thing about this movie is that the music that they've chosen really works.
Because it was new, like it wasn't music that was like out in the world.
No.
It's like a bespoke soundtrack for this that became popular music.
There is one song that was out in the world, and that is in the car of, I really should have written down these character names. What's his name's car? William H. Macy.
William H. Macy?
Yes. His character, every time he got into his car. Yeah, it's the dream song. Dreams can come true.
Yes, actually, I loved that. So the first time that came on, I think I might have seal clapped at my laptop. This is like so unbelievably on brand for this like maniac guy.
Yeah, but the thing is, at first I thought it was like, it's probably playing on the radio in his car. No, but it's very clear, like, because it happens 3 times. It's like it's a cassette or something, and stops the car, gets back in, starts it again, and you're just like, what is, like, it's the only song in the movie that is not an Amy Mann song or just like score. And I was just like, what is happening here?
I'd forgotten about it. I should have taken notes, but I don't do that. That is great. And it makes perfect sense. Like, he seems like the kind of guy who would have a pump up song that didn't like pump him up all the way.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more along the lines of it goes with his current mental state, right? He's like, I have a dream to date this guy. Yeah. But this guy doesn't know my name. He doesn't know anything about me. I haven't said anything, but I'm going to do this crazy thing to prove my love to him in some way. Oh yeah. But it was just like his plan made no sense.
Oh my goodness. Like, actually, so like, no disrespect to Brad the bartender, I'm sure that he's lovely, but that whole thing was demented. And also, if the person that you are like wanting to get down with has braces, you do not want braces.
No, that connects together, and then you're
the logistics of that are poor. Just don't do it.
Yeah, but I think it was one of those like those things where he was like, I have to do this to either.
He wanted to have something in common
with him. Yeah.
But don't get full on braces you can't afford just to start a conversation, my friend.
Exactly. Like, I think it's crazy. Yeah. Instead of sitting in the corner. Yeah. That would help.
That would be helpful. Also, that other guy at the bar was awful though. I kind of enjoyed his snark, but also I was just like, I would spill a drink on you for sure if you spoke to me like that. At minimum.
I mean, I do think it was kind of Donnie Smith's fault. Because the way he shows up jealous, technically for no reason.
Oh, right? He's acting like a complete nutcase, but the other guy was being a creep too. So it was sort of like, oh no. Yeah,
the person you feel the worst for is the bartender, to be honest. What's his name? Brad or whatever?
Brad.
Because he's just there going like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm really uncomfortable. Like, really uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, he's there to take tips, not like take tips. So,
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're in the market for a hustler, that's not the spot.
No, not at all. Like, it's clearly one of those things where he's like, I'm nice to you because you're a customer and I want you to come back, so I'm nice. And he took it as, this person's nice to me, he wants me.
Yeah, he'll flirt with the creepy old guy because he gets like compensated for his time, and they both know that that's what's happening.
Yeah, and you accept it. Yeah.
But our quiz kid didn't quite get the memo on how social interaction works.
Yeah, but the quiz kid is also, I think, closeted. Like, I don't even think he has accepted his gayness to himself. Well, but he's trying his best.
Accepted it, but he's never acted on it.
Yeah.
I feel like he would be a happier person if he'd managed to scrape that together at some point.
Yeah, but I also think if he accepted it, he'd also be happier. Right? Like, because if he accepted it, he would have he's trying to build up to it, but he just doesn't know how or how to handle himself in those situations. Because like he said, I have a lot of love to give. I just don't know where to put it, because he's obviously not been treated well his whole life, but he's also made, if this is his like train of thought to get somebody to like him, he's also making a lot of wrong decisions his whole life.
Yeah, he's got a real victim mentality that's holding him back. So he like thinks that he's being held back by all these things that have happened. And it's like, no, you can't control getting hit by lightning, but you can damn well control how you respond to the aftermath. Like,
exactly. Yeah.
And like that would be like, I feel really bad for him because that must be insane to go from being like brilliant, and I assume he has like an eidetic memory or something, that's why he was so good at the quiz stuff, and then like
but even before
a physical injury, but also like effectively a traumatic brain injury that like your whole thing was that you were super smart and now you're not anymore. Like that's got to be tough.
But I think also part of it has to do with like he was a smart kid. His parents took all his money, and then he's been the victim since then. And then this other thing happens, which takes away his smarts. Again, he's the victim. But you don't have to be a genius to function. You just have to accept.
Oh no, of course
you are to function.
But also, if you're like a child prodigy like that, you don't learn social skills because you don't really have peers, right? Like, I mean, Stanley is exactly the same, going the same direction, right? Like because he was so smart and because he was like a show pony about it, like because of his parents, like he never learned to interact with people like on his level because his peers weren't on his level. Like he was a novelty to adults, but he was way above his, like what the kids that should have been his friends that should have taught him how to like interact with a boy he likes without being a complete maniac about it.
Well, I think too,
right? Like he just like, he didn't learn anything that he needed to know because he lost the one thing that he did know. So
yeah,
it's pretty tough, is right? Hard. Like, it's hard to rally for, and without a strong support system, like how like he needs somebody to like smack him upside the head and be like, okay, man, get your act together. Like a bad thing happened, so put it in your rear view and concentrate on a good thing.
Yeah, it kind of looked like he was just abandoned.
Yeah,
everybody just kind of like walked away.
I mean, I wouldn't want to hang out with them, but also like I don't think he ever had a shot either at being normal. No, like, but he would have needed somebody to teach him how to do that once his intellect was a bit more normal.
But I think like with anything, like normal is a strong word, but if you can't have a conversation with somebody without victimizing yourself in that conversation, nobody's going to want to talk to you because you're a bummer and you're not doing anything. But if you're not, there's nobody in your life who will just tell you that and help you find alternatives. Like every conversation he has is brief, right? Because it's all people being like, hey, you're quiz kid Donnie Smith, and like they have like he's just on a perpetual loop. The only person in his life who's kind of like steady and long term is his boss, who like obviously doesn't give a shit about him. So, and well, who actually was quite patient with him. So maybe that's like not the right thing. But he wasn't going to be like, Donnie, here's how to be like a terrible person. You need to get to go to therapy and you need to learn to like interact with people like a normal human. Like, don't talk about this. Don't talk about this. Like, talk about this instead. Like he needed training that he wasn't getting. But he was also spending money on stupid things. So he couldn't spend money on therapy, which meant he perpetually was in the space, right? Yeah. I mean, that was also a different time where therapy was less like now, every time you listen to a podcast or turn on the TV, it's like, here's a new way to get therapy because we all fucking need it because it's the end days. But at that point, it was like, no, it's not the end. The end times aren't approaching. Everything is fine. No, it was more along the lines of you're going to therapy. You need a shrink. Are you sure? Yeah. Just buck up. Like it's. Yeah. Yeah. And then they wonder why there's like several generations of people that are just fucked. Well, yeah. If you fuck up your kids and then nobody helps them, they become fucked up adults. All the kids in this are fucked up. That's true. Yes. Everybody in this movie is deeply fucked up. Is there a single normal person in this movie? Like, again, normal is a strong word. There are a few people who don't speak, so they might be okay. Philip Seymour Hoffman actually seems to like, as far as we don't know anything of his personal life, but from what we saw, he seems to have it together. Yeah, he seems to be a person who's like, this is my job, but I'm going to take pride in my job and I'm going to do it right. I'm going to care, right? Where we kind of live in a society where like right now, especially where there's so many horrible stories about like nursing homes and hospice care, and where people are just like, I just don't care, I'm abusing these people, just leave them to die.
Right.
Whereas he's clearly like, no, this person needs to be taken care of. This person needs someone here to be with them, you know, and he's into that. Like, this is what he wants to do. But also at the same time, watching him do it, I'm just like, how could you do this? Next week, you're just going to go to someone else's house and do the same thing again? Oh my God. Well, like, it just seems like
I mean, obviously it's been a long-term placement for him, but yeah, I certainly don't have the emotional fortitude to do stuff like that.
I don't. No, I definitely don't.
No.
Yeah. My cat died 3 years ago, and I'm still just like, I can't have another cat because it's too hard. It's a whole thing.
That's fair. Yeah. No, some people can do it. Some people can't, but no, but and it's interesting because like that's obviously an established thing about him, because like when the other caregiver comes to relieve him, and he comes to the door and he's just like, oh no, I'm gonna see this one out, and the other guy's like, okay, on brand. Okay, but also like it's not a surprise. He doesn't fight it. He's just like, this guy's doing what this guy does. Okay.
Also, that scene drove me absolutely crazy because I was like, if I was the other guy, I'm like, I came from fucking over there on the bus for half an hour, blah, 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 come to the door and you're telling me to go home? I was so mad. But also, I think we live in a society now where it's like text is like, hey, did you need me to come? No, it's cool.
No.
Is, you know, like on text is also perfectly normal.
To be fair, I mean, the guy, like the patient is a real son of a bitch. Like, I feel like the other caregiver probably felt like he dodged a bullet because he wasn't going to get called an unfortunate word, which I'm not even going to repeat. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's too unfortunate for me to even say.
Exactly.
You know, like.
Yeah, he wasn't a pleasant man, but I think like with clearly, so we pieced together a little bit of this guy's background throughout the movie and stuff. So he wasn't like a great person. But I think they're also tried to make him like the gruff guy with like the good heart sort of thing in there.
Really?
I think they did in the end, because like the way Seymour Hoffman was just like, no, I'm gonna track down your son, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and like they were joking back and forth with like, you know, him calling, you know, him names and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. I think he got to the point where it's just like, you're just a grumpy old man who's kind of mean, but you know, you deserve love. Well, for some reason.
I think like basically like that there's a lot of this movie is like not is sort of the thing that underlies a lot of the stories is people like who has power and who doesn't, right? And this guy has been very powerful. Like he's a network exec, right? Those guys and
it's true. Yeah.
And now he doesn't, because for all his money, for all his power, for all he's got going on for him, like it doesn't matter because his own body betrayed him, right? So like he's had a real lesson in humility because he can't, like, all his money and all his power can't do anything. He can't breathe. So, you know, he's like the version that his caretaker is seeing is radically different from who he was when he was like a fully functioning guy.
Yeah, so, that makes sense. Yeah.
And like, and the thing works because the character, like the caretaker is just like, I'm not going to get offended because it's my job to not get offended. And they've like built a rapport where he's like, you whatever. And he's just like, you're a son of a bitch. Like, shut up. You know, like he's meeting him where he lives now. So like, you know, they have developed this like good relationship. And obviously like he does care, like, you know, they care about each other, but like, yeah, all he's been defanged basically.
Yeah.
You know? And that, I think that's one of the reasons that like when Frank TJ Mackey shows up and is like, I still hate you and I'm not going to grieve for you. And then he just like absolutely loses it. It's because like in his mind, his father is this like outsized villain, right? Which, I mean, not to say he wasn't absolutely awful, because like fuck that guy and everything that he did and stood for. But but like he's this outsized villain that like this man has built an entire career on like trying to be the alpha male to end all alpha males to make up for the fact that this, you know, whatever. And then to see him like he's like so diminished.
Yeah, but do you think he's crying because he's diminished, or do you think he's crying because he's wasted
Yeah.
All like so much of his life being angry or villainizing this person, but you're like, he's just a weak, pathetic person. Like, why did I take so long to confront him? Like, do you think it's that?
Well, yeah, no, that's what I mean. That he's like, my big bad is actually not that big or that bad. Like,
okay, so my question is, so I have another question, I should say. So Julianne Moore's character admits, like, she's freaking out. She's losing her mind because she thinks she's a horrible person. She's not a great person, don't get me wrong.
But also he knew, like, he says that, not to her, but
like, well, yeah, he's not the love of her life. Like, she's not the love of his life or anything.
Like, I hope, you know, he's basically like, he said, he's just like, oh, I hope she's, you know, I think she's a good girl. Like, hope she's okay. Like, they did not have any kind of equal partnership.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like either of them had any illusions about that until suddenly she's had an attack of conscience. Like,
yeah, but she's like, now I realize I love him. But do you think it's because he's in this diminished capacity that he's actually like emoting and his attitude has changed? So this sick version of him is the one that she's in love with, not the powerful man that was there before, because I don't think he would have treated her well anyways.
Oh, no, I don't think so. I don't think I think he probably did treat her pretty well.
No, not like abusive and stuff.
No, but I mean, it wasn't really like a love match, obviously. But like, I think, you know, like, I mean, he's like a bit of a dick, but like, I don't imagine he was a dick to her the way he was to like almost everyone else, right? Because almost everyone else in his life would have been an underling of one shade or another.
Yeah.
And like, you know.
Well, what I'm getting at is that she admits that when they got married and when they met, she's like, I did it for the money. I didn't love him. And I stayed in the marriage because, right? Like, I got to buy stuff. I got to live in a nice house. I was there because. And she literally says, and now that he's sick, I've fallen in love with him. And I have a feeling it's because his attitude has changed so much and he's softened so much that she finally found something to love him. And that's why she's having the attack of conscience. It's not because she realized all this time that she was in love with him. I'm like, no, the sick version of him is personality to a point where she's like, no, I love this man now.
Oh, I don't think it was because, well, I don't know. I would say like, it's not that because he's softened, it's just because like the clock is ticking. Like cause she's had a really good life, right? Like she got what she wanted. She married for money. So she's got money. She's been fucking around. She's been doing all this stuff. Like she's basically been living an autonomous life, you know, living in the house, but like doing what she wants. And he's never given her any grief about it. Like he's not a jealous husband. He's not, you know, like she's just doing what she wants on his dime. And he's like, okay, honey, have fun. And so, but I don't think it's that he's changed so much. I think that she's realizing that like she actually has a really good thing and she has like a partnership that makes sense because, you know, she has a partner, but she can do what she wants. And now he's not going to be in her life anymore. Like, I think it's more about like his looming absence than that he's changed all that much because like,
yeah, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't see that in the character. Like, because even she says, she's like, I've cheated on him and he's probably cheated on me and blah, blah, blah. And their autonomy was like, they have somewhere to go home to and someone to go home to, but they don't have to do anything together. But my question is like, why, like, what is she in love with all of a sudden? It can't be his absence because she said, like, I've been fucking people everywhere and stuff. And even when he's gone, he's leaving her a shit ton of money. So she doesn't have to really change her life. She can just find somebody else. So I'm just like, what are you in love with all of a sudden?
I mean, to be fair, I don't actually think I think most of that is just panic.
Just panic?
Yeah. I think she's realized she's had a really good setup and it's worked for both of them. And like, they have a good, like, caring mutual relationship as well as whatever else they're getting up to. And now, yeah.
But she wants to give up all the money though. Like if that's what it was, I think she'd be, even if she's panicking.
But I think if it actually came down to it, she wouldn't. Like, I think she was literally just freaking out because he's dying.
Yeah.
If the lawyer was like, oh yeah, no problem. Let me get like form 3 and we'll just like, you just sign here and there's no money for you. Like, do you think she actually would have put pen to paper? I do not.
I kind of think she would.
Well, her lawyer would have made her sober up first. So.
But the thing is, she hadn't taken anything as yet when she was at the lawyer's place.
She hadn't taken any of the new meds, but was she actually sober that whole time?
Again, I think she was, like you said, I think she was freaking out.
Yeah.
And I think that's what was making her manic. I don't think it was any drugs or alcohol in her system until she sat in the car.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. She was the hardest to watch for me because she was so close to going off the rails at every single moment she was on screen, which is an impressive acting job. Good job, Julianne.
Well, yeah, especially the scene at the pharmacy. Like, I understand what the pharmacist was doing because technically he did the right thing.
No, but that was also absolutely the correct response. And like,
yeah, but they also should have been. You're supposed to ask them questions like, who is this for? Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Because I've had to do that for my mother. When I go to pick up something for her, they're just like, is this for you? And I'm like, oh, no, it's for my mother. It's for this, blah, 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 blah. And they ask direct question, not roundabout. Are you having a party? Or, oh, don't put these two things together. You know, like, because they were really snarky about it instead of being direct about it.
Well, yeah, they were extremely unprofessional, and good on her for freaking out and traumatizing them. They probably will think twice before being assholes again.
I don't know. They'll probably just do it again. They'll be like, oh, she's just a tweaker. It's probably what they were thinking the whole time.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, that whole scene was sad and hard to watch. That is very true, though.
But yeah, I mean, this whole movie just like made me super anxious because everybody is right on the edge of disaster the whole time.
Well, my other question is, whatever happened to the little boy? What's his name? Bumps into
well,
the cop guy. Like whatever. Like he runs away, and then he
took the gun and he ran away, and then he saved her life.
Mm-hmm. Stole from her purse, though. Yes, first.
I mean, to be fair, she has lots of money and she would be dead without him. So I feel like that's a pretty awesome finder's fee. Good job, kid. Yeah. When he got in the car and he started looking around, I was like, yeah, purse first, then the passed out white lady. Good job.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. And then I don't know, because that's the whole thing with the gun, with the frogs. Like, where did that come from?
Well, and what it makes me worry that I'm like, the reason why they didn't really show a last scene with that kid is because did he get sucked up into whatever with the frogs and like he's dead somewhere now? Well, like I was just very...
I don't know, because I feel like he was like not a real kid. He was more like a Deus Ex Machina thing, right? Because his rap is supposedly the answer to all the questions, but like I couldn't make heads or tails of it either. And I was like, am I identifying with the bumbling cop? I hate this for me, but like, child, what are you talking about?
Well, to be honest,
I was the worm.
I was trying to listen to what the kid was rapping, but all I could hear was like, every time he said fuck. And I was like, what? And I could look up the lyrics, of course.
Sure. But like, yeah, he was like, but I just told you everything. And it was like, no, but actually you told us shit. What?
I'm like, I don't know what you said. So
so I think then the fact that the gun ends up like coming back to the cop and the frogs, like I think the kid is not what you see on the surface. Like there's some
do you think
pretentious
he's
nonsense
like
there.
Not really like an angel, but like a spirit guiding that character who's not real, like it's just the person he's seeing kind of thing.
I'd really prefer not to think that, but I kind of do, which is why I said Deus Ex Machina instead of like spirit guide, because that makes me
angry,
less uncomfortable.
My other thing was thinking, again, which is a horrible thing, is that kid is actually like dead, because I believe that's the grandson from the lady in the beginning whose son and grandson were there. And I think he's the grandson. And like his father, her son, may have done something with him, and also why.
So her son like shot the guy in the closet, but then he and the kid have disappeared or whatever. Yeah,
and he's the grandson.
Oh, he's definitely the grandson, but
no, but I feel like his father may have done something to him, is what I'm saying. And one of the reasons why the gun ends up there is like he's actually dead somewhere in a field with the frogs. That's why the gun ends up there. I've only had sad negative thoughts ever since.
Oh, wait, but no, because when the cop... Oh, I see. Oh, so you think it's a scuba diver thing?
Yes.
Where he's literally... Oh.
Exactly.
Oh, that's so logical. I hate it.
Well, because the problem is at the end of the movie, you meet everybody except for the kid.
Yeah,
right?
No, this is probably not okay.
Yeah. So I was just like, I'm like, they check in on the whiz kid. He goes home and tells his dad to be nicer to him.
Yeah.
You know, the old man dies and Seymour Hoffman's there. The dog dies. I was like, oh, they killed the dog.
I mean, we saw that coming.
We saw that coming.
You know, you can't just drop narcotics and not pick them all up. What the fuck is with these dogs?
And he's like, don't eat them. I'm like, it's gonna eat it.
That's
it's a
not
dog.
how dogs work.
So yeah, no, and he was the only one that didn't show back up. I'm like, that kid's dead, right? And I think that kid's probably dead. Yeah. It made me sad.
But also, wouldn't you expect him to be dead before he met the cop then? Like, how did he steal his gun? Because wouldn't he have been...
Well, this is the problem, right? So when
the timeline doesn't make sense if he's like, because he was just rocking around the building talking to the cop after the whole body in the closet. Don't you go in my closet?
No, not that point in time. So after he saves Julianne Moore's character and he's sitting in the car, right?
Yeah.
So he's got the gun and he has the money, but the father isn't there or whatever.
Yeah.
I have a feel like I know it's a short time period, but I have a feeling something between, her getting taken away in the ambulance and the frog rain.
Oh.
Something happened.
Oh. So not supernatural at all.
No, like he was just flat out like his father is a horrible person and he gets picked up in this. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because if you pay attention, none of the parents are good parents in any way in this, or even like parental figures, not good people in any way.
Terrible.
So that's what's making me think I'm like, maybe his father did something wrong.
Huh. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I was just speculating, and every time I speculated, it got more depressing. So
yeah.
Yay.
And again, Googling it.
Don't want to. Mm-mm.
Not worthwhile.
Yeah, I'm gonna think he's an angel child guiding people to each other. There you go. I said
right. See, when you said that, I thought you meant he like saved her, but he wasn't actually. Like it was some sort of like miracle-y thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, because I think it also goes back to like the whole like the biblical frog thing. Like there's still good things on earth, quote unquote, and God has a hand in stuff, kind of thing. But maybe we're being not literal enough, and it's just straight. It's just like he's gone. He just left. He's just not part of the story anymore.
Yeah.
But it makes me worry.
Yeah. Well, fair.
Yes.
I don't know. This movie is a lot.
Yeah. So how about we stop talking about this depressing film? I talk about something lighter, funnier, better. I don't know.
Even more sideways. Yep.
Okay. I feel like you are going to give me your opinion of this movie and I'm not going to like it, but I understand it, and go ahead.
Interesting. Mallrats sure is a movie.
It sure is a movie. So I actually have an anecdote about this movie. Okay. It has a very soft place in my heart because it reminds me of a very specific time period, which is, 15 years old in the 90s. Uh-huh. I don't remember if it was like summer or if it was just like a bored weekend or whatever, but me and my two friends, Sarah and Melissa, Sarah's a podcast regular. You've heard her all the time, and or from Melissa at the time. We regularly,
haven't I?
Oh yeah, several times. Yes.
Yeah.
But so we used to live in like the same subdivision in Brampton, and we'd like get together, and when we get bored, we'd go to what we used to call the Price Chopper Mall, which is just a mall that has a Price Chopper in the middle. That's it. And at the end of that mall was a place called Ambassador Video. The video store, its colors were silver, purple, and black. And the top of like all of the everything had like silver tassels on it and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so we used to spend a lot of time in there. And one day we went in there and we saw this movie Mallrats, and we're just like, should we get it? I've never heard of it. It sounds interesting. Sure. We got that, and was it 7? No, it was it wasn't 7. It was Boogie Nights. Those are the two movies you rented.
Wow, that's a lot of thing for just one film. Okay.
Very different things. And yeah, we like from the first time I watched it in my Melissa's basement to now, I still thoroughly enjoy this movie, even though I feel like I shouldn't, but I know parts of this movie, like all of the dialogue and stuff, and I laughed quite a bit because I don't know, but I thoroughly enjoy this movie.
Yeah, no, I love it. I can't help it. Well, yeah. Why did you think I was not gonna love it? Did you think I signed on to this for the Magnolia of it all? Tracy, come on now, you know me better.
I honestly thought you signed up just so you could bitch about the movie, to be honest.
No, I would never.
Thank you for loving it.
I mean, it would be professionally unwise for me to bitch about Kevin Smith in general, but also
yeah,
he and his Degrassi obsession are a thing in my professional life. Anyway, but
Canada in general, which I always think is just weird, but
like specifically Degrassi.
Yeah,
there's that scene where she's wearing the Degrassi jacket. I was like, I see you. But no, I do kind of love this movie. And like, it's so funny because it's always interesting to watch movies from, a past decade, like, especially like the 90s feels like it wasn't that far away, but yeah, it was a long time ago. And, and it's interesting to see how things hold up. And this one is like, the whole deal was for it to be edgy. So like, obviously it's going to push boundaries that like Magnolia didn't, especially around like language and stuff. But like, it's such a weird combination of like woke and disastrous.
Well, to be honest, I find a lot of the things people say in this movie are just true. Like they're just facts.
Yeah.
But they do it in that like gothy 90s pithy way that just pisses people off because that means you think you're too smart, Right. So yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And like, yeah, there's like a word or two that gets used a lot that is no longer a thing that one says in hopefully any company, but certainly not mixed. Yeah. But also, yeah, the concept behind it. Like, I really dug the thing in the dating game where he's trying to outfox what's his nuts, Dante, and he's just like, basically, like, is just like, are you a homophobe? Get out of here with that nonsense. No, I don't. I love the game. And it's like, that's still funny because you could still do that today.
You could still do that today, yeah.
And, because that's the guy doing the like shit talking is the one who's just like, homophobia is bad, obviously. Like, get on board, buddy. And the other guy, like, scrabbling for the crumbs of his masculinity, be like, no, I'm not a homophobe. I just hate this. Oh no. I laughed a lot.
Like the thing is, though, that scene began, and I was just like, do I remember this scene wrong? Is it going to go down a road that I'm not going to like? And then it didn't. And I was so happy. I was so happy.
Yeah. Considering how out there they could have gone with that. And they actually like, it was extremely, especially in the context of this movie, extremely restrained.
It really was. Yes.
It was like, it was clever, but it was like, he was much less
gross than he can be or has been. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love this movie but it like, again, I've already said this, but this movie is excessively 90s from like the disgruntled 20-somethings walking around the mall in their, plaid shirts and their loose pants. And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. And to be fair, like I have not seen this movie in a very long time. But I can also still quote whole sections of it.
Yes.
Which, like, considering I have goldfish brain most of the time, it's just like, well, it's really in there.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Okay, wait. So I have to ask a dumb question.
Mm-hmm.
I should have done this at the very beginning. Can you describe to me the opening scene of the movie, please?
Of Mallrats?
Yes.
The opening scene of the movie is Jeremy London pulling up to Claire Forlini's house. She's sitting on her porch and he gets out. She walks over and he's all excited because they're supposed to be going to Florida.
Right.
Universal Studios. And she's like, something's happened, so I can't go. And she tells the story about the girl he talked to the night before who's going to be on the game show. swam herself to death and she's taking her place. That's the opening scene.
Okay, because I accidentally watched the extended edition.
Oh, with the cuts, because the opening scene of that one is them is the night before.
Extremely different.
Yes.
And I like started, because again, I haven't seen this movie in years. So I started watching it and I was like, I don't remember this. And then, you know, things start going down and I was like, okay, I don't think that's me.
Yeah, no, the opening scene starts at like you meet the girl who dies, like you see the conversation.
There's no girl who dies in the extended cut.
No, doesn't the extended cut start with Jeremy Lin and Jason Lee out the night before, and they're somewhere and they talk to some girl.
No,
and the girl walks away, but then you find out the next morning that girl is the girl that died in the pool. You don't see her die.
The opening sequence of the version that I watched, Claire Forlani is up on a roof with a telescope and there's like a whole thing with the governor meeting with her dad to give him this massive grant check. And then Jeremy London is dressed as like, I don't know, he's like in the play. So he's like dressed in like Revolutionary War nonsense. And he has this like fake rifle, or he has a rifle. And this whole thing where like the rifle gets caught in her hair and the security think that it's an assassination threat. It's a whole disaster. Like, it's a whole different movie.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Brandy dumps TS because her father just lost a massive grant that was going to allow him to like have a real career and not be on public assets anymore, because they thought there was like an actual assassination threat against the governor because his gun got stuck. And then there's all these references all through the movie. People being like, didn't I see you on CNN? You like murdered the Pope or whatever. She's like, no, my gun got caught in my girlfriend's hair. It was a blank.
I clearly have never seen this version, because the version I know that's the extended version, there's like a night before scene where you see him haphazardly say the thing to the girl and she dies. I really should because I have the thing that has the deleted scenes. I should have watched them, but I didn't.
Okay, so the edition that I saw is a full half hour longer than the original movie. I think it's the 10th anniversary extended or something.
Oh no, I have the
I'm not sure, but anyway, there are some wild differences.
Yeah, no, I have the collector's edition. From what year? What year is this from? This is from, there's usually a year on it. 1999.
Okay, well, I don't know what they added a full half and they like thoroughly recut it because the like weird bananas in costume from the Revolutionary War nonsense from the beginning is referenced like throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, this version is not referenced at all throughout the whole movie.
Dude, how come you're at the mall? I thought like the Secret Service was after you. Like, no, I didn't.
Oh my God, now I gotta rewatch
I didn't actually try to kill the governor. Yeah, no, it's very bizarre.
Okay.
Very bizarre. Anyway, so yeah. So we saw slightly different movies, but probably they have a great deal in common.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. So Jason Lee and Jen and Dorherty, they break up in her basement. And then they're like, Jeremy London shows up at his house. They're like, let's go to the mall. And they end up at the mall. At least.
Yep.
Does he have a tiny cup the whole time?
Well, there's the thing where he wants to go talk to Brandy's house. So Jason Lee like tells the media, like he's trying to distract the media who are, this is going to be in the extended as well. Because the media are following around because there was like an attempted assassination at his event. And then Jason Lee convinces them that Brandy's dad like does satanic rituals, and the media ends up filming like him naked, like boxing in his mirror basically. And
okay, so that is in this one, but it is so like Claire Forlini and Jeremy London are having a conversation outside of her house, like they're having like you don't understand, blah blah blah, and they break up conversation.
And their dad but it keeps freaking out because they filmed him naked. Yeah.
Well, he's not freaking out. He's just doing the boxing in the mirror thing. So I guess they kept that part.
Well, they freak out because he eventually turns and there's a reporter and a camera in his window. So he like goes bananas and is screaming at them. And No,
none of that was in there. No. I'm very confused now.
Like this movie didn't start out weird enough. They had to make it weirder.
Apparently. Well, like, are you really surprised? Like, Kevin Smith is like, he's into some making things odd. He really is.
Well, and he's very like Easter eggy as a rule, so it makes sense that there'd be all these like he'd already have the footage to just cut this joke in that goes for the whole movie, even though it wasn't supposed to be part of the movie. Anyway, whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
So
apparently you're gonna say some stuff and I'll be like, that wasn't there, and I'll be like, oh, it's in the 10th year anniversary edition. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I don't know. This is another one that I own but couldn't find. I believe it's on VHS, probably in my parents' garage. So I acquired it. But yes. So there's a lot to talk about in this movie, but also first off, shout out to my buddy Willem. I also can't see those stupid magic eye things.
Me neither.
So I have
one of my first notes is like, one of my first notes is I never saw the picture in those things. Like, because you always get people who are just like, no, like you focus in it, but you focus behind the picture, or you let your eyes unfocus, or what you have to do is like turn really fast and you'll see it. And I'm like, what? No.
Yeah, no, my eyes don't do that.
Yeah.
I have had similar conversations with eye doctors who were like, no, but tell me what shape is in the square. And I was like, there's no shape there. Like, but there must be. There's a shape there. I was like, well, I can't see it, so I guess that's your problem, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. People are just like, it's a dolphin jumping over a boat. I'm like, is it? It's just squiggly lines. What are you talking about?
Looks like TV static to me, but okay.
But I do still remember those stands in the mall where they
I spent a ton of time standing in front of those like a jackass trying to make my eyes behave.
And then sometimes you can get it framed for an extra $100 or something. It's just who's spending this kind of money on a poster? Whatever.
To be fair, I feel like people who bought those and still have them in their like attic or garage could probably sell them for $11 billion today, because everything 90s is back again.
That's true. I don't think it's going to be $11 billion, maybe like $10 billion or something.
I mean, maybe. But I don't know. The world is a dark place, and that seems like the kind of thing that like somebody would pay a whack of money for.
I don't know. Beanie Babies were a huge thing, and they're worth like nothing now.
They were too plentiful, though. Who the hell still has magic eye posters?
Oh, it's true.
Everybody who bought Beanie Babies, who like quote unquote invested in Beanie Babies, like still has them in hope that they will be worth something one day.
I own
magic eye was just like
Babies.
Duct tape on the wall of your teenager. So people who have pristine ones, I feel like they could
get away with something. You're like, no. In Hill Valley Mall, I got this framed and put on my wall, pristine condition. You can have it.
This is the special edition where there are 3 goldfish in the bowl instead of 2. Yeah.
This one's the misprint where it shows up like a green goldfish instead of like a goldfish. Oh my god, it's crazy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, in collectibles, people love those misprinted things. It's hilarious.
They do.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to bring up something nerdy, Star Trek thing. There's a version of a Geordie LaForge action figure that doesn't have his visor, and he's got like pupils, and they're like, what?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I don't know. Later on in the movies, they got rid of his visor. It's fine.
Yes, I definitely knew that.
It's a thing. Anyways, I had to bring it up at some point.
Is there a Star Trek actor in Magnolia?
Is there a Star Trek actor in Magnolia?
There must be. Everybody's in Magnolia. And Star Trek is everywhere.
That is very true.
Wait,
wasn't Patton Oswalt wasn't he in Star Trek at some point?
I hope if you phrase things in the form of a question.
Yeah, he was in Star Trek Picard the other day. Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah, so we got one automatically.
It's like lightly cheating, I guess, but fine.
Yes.
I'll accept it.
I was like, no, I think recently he was in it. Yeah. Okay, I was right. I bet you if I look up more, I'll find more. Should not be a problem. I don't see that being a problem, no. Okay, see, now you have me just like staring at people's faces over here. Oh no.
Okay. None of that.
Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Sure.
Cut it out. Yes.
Are there Star Trek actors in Mallrats?
No. I'm gonna say
probably not, because it's like the same 10 people and then 1 or 2 others.
Yeah.
I did not remember that Brandy's dad was Michael Rooker. So when he showed up, I was just like, oh, hello.
I remembered him. He's great.
I mean, I remembered the character, but I did not remember which actor played. And then I was just like, oh.
Yeah, actually, you know, with him and Ben Affleck in this, like Ben Affleck was so unknown. He's not even on like, his name isn't anywhere. It's not on the top of nothing. It's not on the poster. It's not, you know, on like the lines on the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, given what his character is known for, that also seems kind of logical.
Yeah. But also it'd been like 2 years before Good Will Hunting came out, which really made them famous. So
yeah, that was just big.
Yeah. Because then they showed up in like Matt Damon too showed up in Chasing Amy. It was like a 3-second role, but it was there still before Good Will Hunting. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just fascinating to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's neat to like so many of Kevin Smith's movies have the same cast. So you're just like I feel like Dante was in it twice, right? Because he's the like, you know, dweeb in the game show, but I feel like he was also the guy who got fired earlier.
Fired.
Oh no, not the guy who got fired, but the whole thing where he like is trying to put the podium in the right place and stamp down the carpet, and then somebody gets fired and somebody else has to move the podium. One of those guys, I feel, is also that same actor. No,
I actually thought the guy who was one of the comic book men in a wig. You have no idea who the comic book man is. Okay. Nope. So you know how Kevin Smith he's got a comic book store in New Jersey. And it's run by a bunch of guys who are really into comic books and stuff.
I didn't know that, but I did not know that either, because of course he does.
Yeah. But it's run by a bunch of his friends and stuff, essentially. And they had a TV show called Comic Book Men, where it's, you know, they have a crew and somebody comes in and they're like, look, I have this thing. And they literally go through, it's sort of like
Pawn Stars.
No, it's more like the Antique Roadshow, but for like nerdy comic book stuff. So it's like people bring like action figures, comic books, and they look at it and be like, oh, you see this here? Oh, it's this edition of this book that has all these things. And with this over here, it means this was a first edition, not a third edition. And talk about the like, you know, like, and they're very knowledgeable of all comic book and toys and all that kind of stuff. Comic book men. Now I have to find out what their names are because I don't remember right now. Okay. Wow. But so, you know, this scene where Jason Lee, he gets to the comic book store and he's just like, what the fuck is going on? And like 2 guys try to fight him.
Yeah.
Those 2 guys are comic book men. And I think the guy in the wig was the guy with the short hair, not the guy with the ponytail.
Oh, okay. I totally thought it was Dante, but I wasn't paying that much attention. I was just like, I mean,
to be honest, you could be right. And I just didn't.
It doesn't matter.
Probably, but
whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But I thought it was funny. I was like, hey, it's those guys. Because they also show up in Clerks as well.
Sure.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Speaking of movies I haven't seen in a very long time. I love that movie. And I will always have a soft spot for it just because I love it. But also one of the funniest things that ever happened to me when I worked at the video store was the result of that movie. And I was big mad at the time, but now I recognize that it was hysterical. So I worked Friday nights at the video store for years and years. And then I had another job, so I couldn't really do it. So my boyfriend at the time had like more or less taken over my shift. He was working other shifts, but I guess this was one night he had something going on. So I like just randomly showed up for the first half or whatever. And then he took over, but we were both there and I hadn't been around for a while. And this super lovely couple from the neighborhood had come in and they were, you know, they were like, oh my goodness, it's been so long. How are you? Like, so we were chatting, just like, oh yeah, you know, I've been doing this, blah, 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 blah. And we had Clerks on in the background because it was a Friday night. And the scene with Randall ordering the pornography came on while I was chatting with them. And my fuckhead boyfriend just like sidles over to the controls and starts slowly turning the volume.
Oh my God.
So I'm chatting with this lovely couple. And this thing is happening. And I'm just like, poker face.
Don't. Yep.
I made it. I didn't crack. And I don't think they clocked it. But you better believe I beat his ass with a video, like one of those big, thick plastic video VHS cases. Yeah. I was like smacking him around behind the counter.
Could you?
Customers were like, what is happening? I was like, he deserves it. If anyone heard what just happened, he deserves classic.
Yeah, but also that scene is just so like vulgar.
Yeah.
Like, really? Is this what we're doing?
Yeah. Anyway, it was, yeah, as I said, I was big mad at the time, but I recognized that it was deeply hilarious. And if like, the roles had been reversed, I almost certainly would have done the same thing. So
yeah, once you're not in it, it's always funny.
Yeah. I mean, I have a pretty solid poker face, but that was like one of the best workouts it's ever gotten. I can't believe I'm getting randled. Come on.
He's not a verb. Cut it out.
I mean, in that case, it kind of was. One time only there.
I mean, this movie too was like my first interaction with like Kevin Smith movies, so I think it's also my favorite because of that. Right. And then I went forward because I think I saw Chasing Amy, and then I saw Clerks, and I was like, oh, and then everything after that.
Oh, yeah. I would think I was Clerks first, and then might have been Chasing Amy Mallrats. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. I love this movie.
I do.
In some way, yeah, I love it. And I feel like I was prepared to sort of hate it a little bit when I first started watching it. I was like, oh God, like these guys are such losers. Okay. And then I was like, at the end, I was like, okay, yeah, that was pretty good. But also to a certain, it was like, there was definitely a part of my brain that was watching it. Just like, no wonder everyone our age has terrible relationships. Like, this is what, like, if we don't want to go full rom-com, then this is what we're left with. Like, good God.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, technically, he does pull a romantic gesture at the end, which he kind of ruins with like the sex tape. But it is technically a big romantic gesture.
I mean, the sex tape part was pretty great. But yeah. Listen, is there anything more romantic than exposing predators?
No. I mean, no.
Especially if they want to fuck you in the back of a Volkswagen. So like, nah.
Really, I remember the first time I heard that, and I was just like, all I kept thinking, I'm like, is the back of a Volkswagen uncomfortable? And it took me like 4 or 5 viewings to be like, oh, he means fuck her in the ass. Oh. Oh, really? I remember that taking me so long to realize. That was just like, because even like watching it, like I know it's the joke in the movie, and every time he says like in the back of a Volkswagen, and I just keep thinking about just like, I can't believe it took me so long to realize what he was actually talking about. What is wrong with you, Tracy?
Because in the movie, yeah, every single guy says that who shoots is like, oh, the back of it, and every single girl is just like, hello.
I would have said, like in the back of a Volkswagen. That would have been me. That would have been on
Team Dude there.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, fair enough.
Maybe I was just an innocent child at the time. I wasn't ruined yet by anything. So I don't know.
I mean, we've already discussed twice that by the time I was watching this movie, I was renting porn to my neighbors. So like,
yeah, you're just
that innocence, blew away on the breeze.
I think we lost our innocence watching Boogie Nights after this, but
oh wow, that'll do it. Yeah,
that'll definitely do it. I still remember watching because there's all the controversies like, oh, such a big dick and blah blah blah, and so we were curious. We watched it.
Yeah,
and I was like we're watching, but it's like such a depressing and violent movie.
Yeah,
that's not what we were expecting, and we're just like, it's gonna be titillating. Oh, we're gonna see a dick. And you're just like, it's 3 seconds at the end, and you're just like, okay.
And there's nothing about that scene that's impressive.
No.
Yeah, no, it is a whole bummer. Yeah.
It's all gross.
Sometimes, that's one of those movies where like the marketing and the movie were not necessarily in sync, I feel.
I think purposefully though, because I think like Dirk Diggler, when he gets into it, he has this impression that the world is going to be, neon lights and fun and fucking, like that's what he thinks it's going to be, and then it turns into like this horrible, dark, depressing world of violence and abuse, and you're just like, okay,
geez, that's fun.
That sounds great.
I had a less depressing but similarly, wait, what am I watching experience with Magic Mike, where friend of the podcast, Leah, and I were when we still lived together, the boys were gone for the weekend. So we were like, all right, girls' night. We like had the bottle of tequila. We're gonna watch Magic Mike. We're just gonna like holler and be, you know, whatever, terrible. Mm-hmm. And then was like, we were watching it and it was like, okay, this is a Steven Soderbergh film. This is not the stripper romp that we were led to believe. Like,
but that's
what
why
the heck.
But that's why when
about things, I hate this. I want more booty. Like,
but that's why when XSL came out, the people who liked the story was like, no, we need film, we need art. So they're just like, this is just booty shaking. What the hell? And then everybody was just like, finally, this is what we were looking for. Who needs a story? Nobody. It was all there. That's what the second movie is for.
First experience. Although I'm sure that I would enjoy it immensely because, I mean, that kind of thing is like not my thing, but also like any movie where there are so many hot dudes that Matt Bomer is like that guy in the back. Okay. He's like one of the most attractive human beings currently on this earth.
He really is, yeah. And he's just the extra. You know, he's just like 3 words the whole movie.
I know. He's like, basically, he literally is the guy in the back who says, like, a few things. He, like, I don't know, tips his hat one time or whatever. And I mean, you know, having watched a lot of White Collar, that's fine with me, please. But yeah, anywho.
Yes. Clothes on, clothes off. He's a very beautiful man. It's fine.
Yes. Just look at me with those big blue eyes and you can have whatever. The con artist thing makes absolute sense.
Absolutely. Okay.
Take my money. I don't care.
But that's why I'm like, have you ever watched an episode of Doom Patrol?
No.
Well, it's a comic book TV show, but I also find it incredibly depressing. So like, though it's very good, like Brendan Fraser is one of like the actors and stuff. So is Matt Bomer. But
we stand Brendan Fraser.
But the thing is, Matt Boomer's character is like a radiation burn victim. So 98% of the time he's just covered up in rags, and when he uncovers, it's just like, you know, flesh. But then he has like weird flashbacks where he's him, and I was like, there you are. Okay, I'm okay with this.
Why would you cover that precious angel face?
This is what they did. It's what they did.
I don't even like want to nail him. I just want to look at him.
No, he's just pretty. You're just like, oh, that's what good people look like. Boogie Nights is also a P.T. Anderson movie. I should have put those two things together. Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. Yes.
It's fine.
Yes.
Yes. That also has a lot of the same
long
character.
And depressing and full of interlapping storylines that just keep getting worse and worse.
Yes. All the same people are in it. Julianne Moore, Luis Guzman, John C. Reilly, William H. Macy. Yeah. Wow. A lot of them are in here. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Right. Anyway, sorry. Yeah,
not in
I interrupted. Not in Mallrats.
A lot of actors in Mallrats.
I don't know. I mean, I would think early in his career, like when he did like Good Will Hunting, I think, Ben Affleck thought he was an actor.
Well, I mean, he gave it the old college try. Yeah, I guess he had some. The Town was good.
Did I see that?
Like, isn't he the main guy in The Town?
I'm just trying to remember if I saw it.
Oh.
I don't think I saw The Town. I don't think I saw
that
one.
You know, it's an excellent movie that I will never watch again because it was boring. But yeah.
I hate when that happens. You're like, it's like, so there's a difference between, movies that are really good. You'll never watch it again because it like destroyed your soul. There's those movies. Yeah. And then there's movies just like, look, technically it's great. It's got good storytelling, great acting and stuff. Cinematography beautiful, but I was bored to tears. Can I go home?
Yeah. I have no actual complaints, but also nope.
Not again. I had that problem with the King's Speech where people were just, oh my God, it's so good. Oh my God, Oscar, blah, blah, blah. And then I watched it. I was so bored for the whole movie. Like I was so frustrated. I
love Colin Firth, but I've never actually like sat down and watched that movie because it seems like a thing that I have to commit to, and I don't like that.
No, it's so boring. Like and that's the thing. Like I cannot actually complain about it because there's nothing wrong with it. It's well acted,
not for you.
Well scripted. There's beautiful shots of like the English countryside and everything. Great. Yeah. But I was just like, are you done yet? Just give your speech. Jeez.
So probably you haven't watched the 5-hour BBC Pride and Prejudice then?
Of course not. No. No. Oh God, no.
Right. My dad and I watch it every year around Christmas.
Why?
Because we both love it. Yeah. My father, like, extremely, people find him very intimidating and like stern, which is like not what he's actually like, but he has like a very that's his demeanor. And he's like, like Jane Austen is his favorite writer, and he like loves Pride and Prejudice, and we like watch it together and tear up. And my mother, the English major, is just like, oh, Jane Austen, and goes upstairs.
Because she was forced to read too much Jane Austen when she was in school.
She hates it. She doesn't understand at all. And my dad and I are like, yep, no, every Christmas here we are watching Pride and Prejudice.
I've definitely watched a version of Pride and Prejudice. I did.
It had Keira Knightley in it. I regret to inform you, it was the wrong one.
Okay, so then I've definitely watched the wrong one.
Bullshit. Terrible casting. Not her specifically. She's fine, but terrible casting.
Yeah, I don't know. I think those are the only two I saw. Are there more? There's probably more. But yeah, no, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't mind a good period piece. Yeah, there's too much of like sitting in parlors and Mr. Darcy came over today. Like, oh, I don't. I
mean, yeah, that's it's a stuffy genre. You have to be able to roll with the stuffiness.
That is very true.
I mean, Jane Austen had a real sense of humor. Like, that's one of the reasons her works endure, right? Is because like there's actually like, if you actually like pay attention, especially to the books, like they are very funny, but it's like it's a kind of humor that many people don't care about. It's tiny humor.
I don't even think it's tiny humor. I think it's patient humor. Like you have to,
I guess so,
be patient with the context to get to the funny part of it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I don't know.
I never saw Emma. That's Jane Austen, right? Is Emma
Jane
Austen? Yes. No,
yeah, there are a couple of good adaptations of that, actually.
Didn't see any of them.
Oh,
most recently, they have the one.
Well, you've probably seen Clueless.
Yeah, and that's based off Emma, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Still creeps me out that she dates her brother in the end, but whatever.
They're not related.
Yeah, but
he was barely even married to his mother.
They grew up like brother and sister. It's creepy.
For like 2 years. They did not grow up together.
It makes me uncomfortable. That's what I'm saying.
Daddy was barely even married to his mother.
That's like the whole dangerous liaisons things. Like, yeah, they're step brother and sister.
Okay, that one's big.
But ew.
Big movie, but
ew. Don't like it.
Yeah, no, don't. As a rule, don't nail your step siblings, but you know.
It's technically not wrong. Fine.
No.
Fine. I will let you have that.
It helps if the parents divorce and they didn't grow up together. Every step we can take away from that is good. But also, like, in the age of, like, we're just past the age of Game of Thrones where suddenly incest was trendy. Like,
yeah,
followers in the future are going to be like, what the fuck was going on? Like, it was obviously the end times. People were just like, oh yeah, sure, nailing our siblings and nephews, great. Like,
yeah, but I mean, I know it's Game of Thrones and it just came out within the last 10 years and everything, but you have to realize those books were originally being published in the 80s, so they've been around for a while.
Incest wasn't cool in the 80s.
I didn't say incest was cool. I'm just saying,
but the show made it so that people were, there were a lot of like weird incest apologists around Game of Thrones, and it was like, oh, it's fine.
No, it's not fine.
None of it was fine, but people were just like giving it a pass all over the place. I don't know, man.
Yeah, and it did end up showing up in a couple of things, which was very uncomfortable. I watched what's that movie called with that guy with the face? What was he in? That's very unhelpful, I know.
Willy's Wonderland.
No, it's like it's a weird, creepy movie. He was in like Valerian, the Planet of like 1,000 whatever. Oh God, what is that movie called?
Listen, I'm gonna need at least one straw to grasp.
There you go.
The guy with the face in the thing. Even I'm not that good.
Dane DeHaan. There you go. He was in. Okay, I'm gonna find the movie that I'm talking about.
I don't know who that is. I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm willing to go along for the ride.
He was in Chronicle. He was in Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. The Cure for Wellness. Okay, this is a movie that came out in 2016. Okay. And it's about this guy who's an executive, and he's told to go to this retreat to just like relax and calm himself down. And he's going to this retreat that is well renowned and everything. And also the movie has this green patina over the whole thing, which also adds to the creepiness to it. And it's super creepy. There's this thing with like eels and stuff and going into people and whatever. Super creepy. Then you get to the end of the movie. I swear they didn't know what they were doing. It has to do with the guy who runs the place wanted a clone of his daughter because he's in love with his daughter, so he can have sex with her. And I was just like, why is like up until the last 10 minutes of the movie, you're just like, it's so creepy, it's so good, it's well acted, and stuff's happening, and we're gonna get answers. And you're just like, oh, cult ritual in the basement so an old man can fuck his kid. And I was just like,
so upsetting. And you get all the way to the last, you're like on the home stretch, and then all of a sudden the movie fucks up.
Yeah.
Hereditary.
You are the only person I know who said that, because everybody I know loves Hereditary.
No, the ending is so stupid. They wrote a bunch of checks and they didn't cash them. It was annoying.
Well, and I think that's the thing that happened with this movie as well, is like they didn't really know how to end it. So they were just like, we're going to be shocking. And I was just like, no, I don't like it.
The worst example I've ever seen of that is a movie called The Last Exorcism. It was just like a tiny, like indie movie, relatively, like that was, I don't know, we must have seen it at like After Dark or something. I don't know. Festival. I think it's available like somewhere, but it wasn't like a big deal or anything. But it was like, it was like a perfectly lovely, like fun exorcism movie. And we're watching it, so good. And then there was like a twist, and it was like, oh, cool. Okay. I didn't actually see that coming. And then there was another twist. And it was literally the last 3 minutes of the movie. And I was like, oh, so this is the stupidest movie of all time, because they had us. And
okay.
And apparently it wasn't in the original script either. Like the movie literally wasn't supposed to end like that, and it was like
they just threw it in there,
and they just and it was just like, but you just ruined your whole movie.
It's so sad when that, you can pinpoint the moment where it's just like, and that's where it's gone.
If you just turn off the projector 3 minutes before the credits roll, this will be a lovely, awesome, fun exorcism movie. If you let it get to credits, everyone's going to walk out of the theater just like, what the balls? Why did I just watch that?
What have you done? I love the fact that you're trying to hide what the ending of your movie is, but I'm just like, this is what happens at the end of the movie. Done. Just
I don't
let it out there.
It's stupid. It's similar. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I'm not. I don't want to talk about it.
No. I do want to talk about Mallrats, because there's a couple of things I picked up in this viewing that I was just like, what?
Yeah. Okay.
There's the part where they're in Brody's basement and Sharon Doherty's getting ready. She has buttonfly jeans, and I was just like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
Back.
I was the worst.
I was at Duff Mall yesterday, and I saw those unfortunate denim shorts that not only have a button fly, but they're cut on an angle so that your butt is squeezed uncomfortably at all times. And I was just like, is this where we fucking are again? Maybe bring on the apocalypse. Good grief.
Yeah, because aren't low-rise jeans coming back in? Apparently we're going to see a bunch of whale tail this summer again.
Even Brittany couldn't pull that off at her foxiest. So what chance do the rest of us have? Kids, learn from our mistakes. You don't want the bell-bottom jeans that are just going to be wet for the bottom 6 inches because we live in Canada, and you don't want the ones where everyone can see your thong and you need a bikini wax. If you need a bikini wax to wear your jeans, you've made a horrible mistake.
You've done it wrong.
To the store.
Agreed.
Ask somebody over 25 what jeans you should be wearing.
Are they going to start doing the what is it? The vajazzling? Remember that trend? Where they stuck a bunch of rhinestones on your pubis.
I can't.
Scientific terms here, guys.
That was the least lewd way you could have said that, so it sounded so much worse. A plus.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I never quite understood that.
Me neither.
I mean, I don't want gems stuck to any part of my person, but especially not my sacred space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it would be incredibly uncomfortable in every way. Like, why? I don't, you know what? I'm not even gonna think about it. It's fine.
Also,
I just hope it doesn't come back.
Full Brazilian to make that make sense. And that also makes me uncomfortable. So
yes.
Yes.
All of those things.
Yeah.
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 I just also remember I used to have the raver jeans, like, you know, the ones that are just stupid wide at the bottom.
Those are the ones. Bell bottoms. The bottom 6 inches will be wet like 2/3 of the year.
Yeah.
I wore bell bottoms. I wore stupid platform shoes. I wore all kinds of stupid shit. Discos, all the 70s stuff. But also, I mean, you know, it's all cyclical, and everybody, you know, thinks they're hot shit when they look like an idiot when they're 17 or 23 or whatever. But like, we knew we were doing 70s shit. That was like the deal. It was like, oh, the 70s are back. And our parents were like, oh no. But like, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we're like going full 70s in our outfits. I feel like the new trend is like Gen Z kids being like, we've come up with this wonderful thing to do with jeans. And it's like, first of all, no, you didn't. And second of all, not wonderful.
Yeah, there was like a whole bunch of articles about this new thing, a skirt. It's skirt with shorts. And you're just like, that's what? That is not a new thing.
So the Subaru Mafia needs to fucking riot about that.
Never seen a
that
isn't
even
before.
In my pet. Like that's like that's still going. Yeah. So Canadian Music Week was a couple weeks ago, and I ended up on a booze cruise with bands from the Toronto Harbor.
How are you still alive? You should just have like alcohol poisoning and should be laid up. Like, I don't know.
I was actually extremely sensible about the alcohol because I was basking in the sun, and like one or the other. I'm too pale for that shit. Anyway, but yeah, so it was like, and it was like a networking event and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was not there to network. I was there to like have some beers in the sun and listen to some bands. So it was like much less stressful for me than most people. But also like so many people on that boat were obviously like dressed up to look cool. And a handful of them managed.
Okay.
But I was sitting on a couch on the upper deck, and most people were standing. So I was literally like basically at waistline level with like 90% of the people on this boat. Nobody's pants fit. Nobody's like it was unreal. It was just like everybody. I know you got up and you tried to make yourself look cool in case you met somebody important today, but it looks like you woke up in the bedroom of a stranger and couldn't find your own pants. And so you grabbed jeans that are not your size. Like, why do they end 3 inches above your ankle? Why are they like, you know, why can I see them gapping at the waistband? Why are your thighs like, why do they flap when you walk too fast? Like, what? Your pants do not fit.
You know what I blame that on? I blame that on people who only look at themselves in the front when they're putting on their clothes, and they don't turn around to be like, does this actually fit? Because a lot of people don't, especially people with like crazy hairstyles and stuff. It is very clear. Like, you know, the girls that have like long hair, and no matter what you do, their hair is always like in the front, but in the back, you're just like, did a bird lie in the back of your head or something?
There must be some term related to like you're Zoom dressed or whatever. Because we all do that for meetings, right? I for sure do that. Where like the front third of my hair is like perfectly straight, and then the rest is just like, bitch, no, why am I out of bed?
Yeah, and I'm wearing like a dickie that makes it look like I have proper clothes on.
Sure.
And I'm like,
I put on a cardigan, but I'm wearing like Daisy Dukes and slippers. Yeah.
Exactly. I have a feeling people are just like, oh no, they're only seeing this part, not you know, once you walk past, we can see the back of you.
Yeah. But also, jeans that are like, okay, fine, you want to wear like baggier jeans, that's fine. I'm a devotee of skinny jeans, so like I'm old and terrible, but also like, you know, whatever, fine. But also like the awkward lengths where it's like, how come your jeans are like mid calf and now you look like a hobbit when you're actually like tall and hot if you had dressed yourself with a full length mirror to hang.
That's one thing that drives me crazy of like skinny girls who wear clothes, like they insist they're a size 2, but really they're a size 4, but they're like, no, I'm going to wear a size 2. And it just makes you look fatter. because you look like a sausage casing, like your top part. It's just like, but you weigh 100 pounds. Why does it look like you weigh 200 pounds? Like, it's like if you just wear clothes that fit.
If you dress for your body, you would look like $1 million. Instead, you look like a counterfeit 5. Stop it.
Exactly. You're like, I know you. I've seen you look good. What is going on here?
There was a girl on the boat that was wearing like full club gear. Like she was wearing like fully like a club dress and 4-inch heels and like, you know, the nails, the lashes, the whole, and like whatever. Okay, that's cool. I mean, if you're doing that on a boat cruise that leaves at 2 p.m., like, I don't understand your life, but like, whatever, get it, girl. You look good. Mm-hmm. But also her purse was Prada, but it was so ugly. I thought it was Guess. And I was like, okay, once I clocked the label, I was like, okay, now I'm sad for you. Yeah. Well, that's like a $4,000 purse and it looks like a mess.
A lot of people do not realize just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's classy. Like, no. Like, there's a lot of expensive brands out there that make ugly things. It doesn't mean you should buy it just because it's the thing.
Yeah. Just, the last thing I clocked was the label. I'd already noticed how ugly and cheap looking it was before. I was like, oh dear, that's Prada. I'm so sad.
You know what? She probably caught you staring, was just like, she thinks I look great and my bag is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so, because I don't want to be rude, but also, girl.
Yeah. My other thing is like, I don't, makeup is great. Wear makeup, do whatever. But most of the time, the amount of makeup and things people do to their face, I'm just like, A, how do you have so much time to do all of that to your face? And B, why don't you want to look like yourself? Like, what is so wrong that you hate your own face in such a way that you have to do this to yourself?
I was out for like lunch on Sunday down on King Street, which like that was our first mistake. But anyway, and our server was like, it wasn't that busy, but our server was like stressed and she was like kind of a disaster. And so this is like, okay, well, this is happening, I guess. But like, you know, we're on a patio on King Street, fine. And then, but yeah, at a certain point, you know, one of the people I was with was just like, what is the deal? Like, why is this? What is going on? And I was like, there must be something we're not seeing, because anybody who works a lunch shift on a like outdoor patio on King Street wearing full club makeup, like there's like, this job is stressful in some way we cannot determine. Like, yes. Like, there's no reason for what's going on here unless there's like some asshole inside wrecking her life, basically.
That probably is what's happening.
Yeah. To be honest. Like I was like, this is not like, I don't think she's chosen to be here in this circumstance or behaving this way. I think yeah, she's going through something. We should be supportive.
Yes, just just be nice, just be patient. It's okay. Yeah,
like I don't love this, but I
you accept it for what it is.
Why whatever has caused you to get dolled up to this level at this hour.
Yeah, that's one thing that always used to get me, like going to school and stuff. And it's like 7:30 in the morning, and you've got on full makeup, and I'm just like, what time did you wake up to do this? I woke up 20 minutes before I was supposed to jump in the car, and I'm half dressed coming to school, yet you were in full makeup. That probably took like an hour and a half to do.
Right.
Like, what did you do? How were you doing this?
We didn't have a lot of that because we wore uniforms, but...
Oh, we wore uniforms, but people used to put on their face.
There were some, but like it wasn't... But it always made me laugh because when we had like casual dress days or whatever, we didn't have to wear the uniforms. It was like the younger you were, the more dressed up you. So like when it's like grade 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever, people would like wear outfits and everyone's also, and then like by the time you hit grade like 11, you're like, I'm wearing my fucking pajamas. Like, get out of my way.
I still do it. I wear jeans and a t-shirt 98% of the time. That's just what I do.
Sure.
My only thing was I used to wear overalls sometimes. I had 3 pairs of overalls: a denim one, a white one, and a black one.
If I wore white overalls, look at you.
It was real fancy. But if I wore the white overalls, I always had a black t-shirt and black socks with it. But if I wore the black overalls, I had a white t-shirt with white socks. And if it was denim, everything had to be colors. That was it. No, that was it. There was coordination.
Right.
With the overalls.
Well, overalls are back apparently, because I saw some of those on the boat too.
Yes, I have been told I'm not allowed to buy any by several friends. They're like, "No, you're an adult." Yeah. I'm like, "What? It looks comfy."
It's not. Don't do it. If only because you like to drink in public. And why do you want to like have to strip all the way down?
Yeah, but they're overalls. It's better than like a jumper. At least I'll still have a shirt on. It's like just pulling down pants. It's the same thing.
Is your argument that it's better than a romper? Because that's like the literal definition of damning with faint praise.
I mean, a romper, you're standing in a public bathroom naked.
Yeah, but if you're wearing denim overalls, the chances of them hitting the bathroom floor and then coming back to your shoulders are like way higher than I'm comfortable with.
That is true. But you don't have to like unhook it. You just put it over your shoulder. Just, it's fine.
If you have to do a little dance to go to the bathroom, I feel like probably you've taken a left turn at Albuquerque,
I will take your thoughts into consideration.
Yeah. Jess is walking around with a fanny pack as a purse. So, I got thoughts to spare.
Yeah, but that's a fashion thing now. That's what they sell.
I know it's fucking awful and stupid, and I keep telling her that. But
they actually have like the fanny packs that they don't even have a strap. They actually like just hook onto your belt loops. They like snap into place.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so fashion's disgusting. Should we go back to the mall?
Did you see the fashion in this movie? Like there's the one scene where you meet Shannon Dorherty and she's shopping and the whole wall behind her is flower dresses and denim skirts and you're just like, oh my god. But it's all no.
Like you could walk into like if you showed the movie to a Gen Z, they'd be like, oh cute, it looks like H&M. Like all that shit is back.
It is back.
It's all back.
So painful. It's so painful.
It's brutal. Although when we're on the subject of going shopping for clothes, Joey Lauren Adams is a joy, and also all of her scenes with the scene where she's trying on her the underwear in the middle of the store, and she's like, "I know, some perm keeps busting in."
So why not just let it have it? Yeah,
yeah, she's hilarious.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was really funny though.
The party where you fucked whoever on the pool table. Like, I was in costume. Nobody knew it was me. Oh, pumpkin.
Of course they knew. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, some of those outfits in the movie, because every time you see Shannon Dorherty, she's wearing a different outfit, like every time.
Yeah.
And a couple of them were like okay and passable, and a couple of them were just like, this is so 90s. It hurts, and there's some hipster Zillennial or whatever. What are they called now?
Gen Z are the children.
Is it Gen Z? There's the children now?
Yeah, okay. The TikTok children are Gen Z.
Okay, well, they're like, oh my god, that is so hot. I'm gonna get that. I'm like, no, please don't. We don't need this. Before you know, they're gonna have butterfly clips in their hair again. Like,
oh, that's already started. There are TikTok videos teaching people like, oh, I discovered this great new thing. This is how you put these clips in your hair. And it's like, again, you did not discover it, but also
wait, not the giant claws, but remember,
butterfly clips. No, the ones that everybody wore to like their prom, where you twisted the stuff in the
and they were all neon colored all the time, or like see-through and sparkles and.
Yeah, there was glitter.
No, I don't know. I can't. Even at that time, I thought butterfly clips were stupid. Like,
yeah,
come on.
I was like less into that because I had hair like down to my butt my whole teenage life. So like, as much as butterfly clips didn't do anything, they did like even less for me because I just had this like massive curtain of hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe there might have been a formal where one or two were deployed. I don't know. But like, also for my grad formal, I wore like a pink iridescent, like poofy princess dress because I thought it was hilarious. So it was like so contrary to everything that was like I chose to like do and be. And people at my school when I showed up were just like, oh my God, look at you. And I was like,
They were probably so confused.
They were extremely confused. It was hilarious. And then as soon as we left the formal and went to like the after party, I put on like combat boots and a black hoodie and was like, there we go. Yeah. So yeah.
You should have taken like dressing tips from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, not the TV show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Similar principle.
You just got to throw a leather jacket on top of it and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Way to be, man. Way to be. But what's funny is like all the guys in it, like you could pick them up out of that movie and put them in now, and you're just like, yeah, I saw that guy walking down the street yesterday.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Their stuff's all very generic. And although, can we talk about the London twins for a minute? Because they were like the dudes, right?
At the time, yes. But they disappeared surprisingly quickly.
I feel like one or the other of them got like perhaps stuffed into rehab by law enforcement at some point, so that might have been a factor. But they were like it boys in the 90s, and they were fucking dreamy, and they had that stupid 90s haircut that makes every girl swoon every time. I mean, yeah, it's like, oh haha, things are so 90s. But then I was like looking at Jeremy London in the movie, and I was like, yeah, no, I'd still hit it. Like, it's true. I'm printed on that hair. I had an ex with that hair, and I like thought it was cute as hell. So that's something I'm never getting back. No, it still works. I tell you, it still works. Yeah, I can't wait till I watch like Romeo and Juliet and see like DiCaprio in that. Oh my god, I can't. I never found him that attractive, but I love that movie. Like, it's just so
good. But that scene where you first meet him and he's on the stage and he turns around, I still remember. Probably shouldn't be. No, it's a while, but I still remember because our like English class from school had just finished reading Romeo and Juliet, so our thing was we get to go watch Romeo and Juliet. Oh yeah, and that scene happens in the movie, and literally every girl and they were like, it was a full sigh, and all the boys were just like, oh, we're fucked, like.
Yeah, you are. Not in the fun way. Yeah, exactly. That scene with the aquarium was just like, oh, did you design this for me? Because I love aquariums and I might lust after teenage Romeo, but I sure as hell lust after Claire Danes. Like, dang. I like all sides of this equation. Give me more.
They were perfectly cast for that time period, and they're such good actors, like both of them, that I was just like, oh, it's just great. And yeah. I don't know. I'm already flustered thinking about it. It's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, if we're gonna revisit the 90s, maybe I need to take another stroll down that lane. Exactly. But yes. Anyway, so yes, lust after Jeremy London. Jason Lee is terrible.
Yes.
But I mean, love him to death, but not like that.
I think he's great. I think I would be a good friend to Jason Lee. I think we'd hang out.
Seems like he'd be fun to go for milkshakes with, but like and some of it's just his voice too, because it's not even like in every role he's in, regardless of what he's doing. It's just like, oh god.
Yeah. But he also he always plays like the lovable, snarky asshole, and you're just like, how do you bridge this gap? Usually it's snarky asshole and lovable. How do you put those two things together? Because even when he did the voice of Syndrome and The Incredibles and stuff, he still had that, like, he's the bad guy. You shouldn't like the bad guy, but you get the bad guy, and he just seems fun for some reason, even though, if somebody like comes after you, he'd probably let you die. But it's a whole thing.
Yeah, no, it's true. He's charming even when he's monologuing and being an asshole. Exactly. Also, throwback to our first podcast episode, Almost Famous. He's only the fucking lead singer. Yeah.
That's right.
He's a complete jackass in that movie, but also it's like, yeah, I kind of see your point. Yeah. Russell's an asshole.
Yeah. Sure, I forgot he was in that. That was a while ago.
Tracy, he's only the fucking lead singer.
I think I said this. Like, that was like the second time I'd ever watched the movie.
And that was the first time we did the podcast. So I was like massively over-prepared and read like 20 interviews with Cameron Crowe.
Yeah.
And now you're all the stuff I already knew. And then was just like, wait, you don't love this movie? I thought you loved this movie. Isn't that what we're doing?
No. It's just like, I'm just watching it. Monologuing. Like, no, but I actually think my favorite on the podcast is when somebody either really like something and knows too much about it, or they had never seen it before, and I get to see they're like, oh, I'm introducing something new to you, and I get to see your reaction. Okay, this is cool. Those are my favorite. Yes. I mean, all the in-between stuff is great. I just like talking to my friends about movies. You guys know that. Yeah. So like it's just fun to see, you know, people's reactions. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, a bunch of the movies that we've watched when I've done episodes are ones that I haven't seen in forever. And so it's like, yeah, it's like I have an impression of this movie. Like, how does it hold up?
Yeah. Well, even this movie, I haven't seen it in probably 10 years and I still love it, like I said, but it's just I love being forced to rewatch something sometimes, especially when it holds up and it's still good. And you know, the movie finishes and I was just like, you know, the Weezer song is playing, they're walking off in the sunset with Suzanne, you know, Brody hosting the Tonight Show, and you know, the guy gets told he gets to see the boat, and you're just like, oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It left me in a good mood. And that's one thing I loved about it.
Yeah, I remembered it being funny, but I also like did not expect the extent to which I was cackling. Like, I hope that I don't wake up my household because I can't stop laughing.
It had some really good laughs in it. Nice. But the thing is, too, is like some of the humor is so of that time period that I think, you know, Gen Zs won't get half of it because, you know, like the part where he turns to Dorherty and he's like, oh, what's her 90210 character again? Brenda. Yeah, he turns and he's like, Brenda, and she's like, hits him as like asshole and walks away. They're not gonna understand that. They're never gonna get it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would be interesting to see what a kid would take from that movie because, like, everything about it basically is foreign, right? Like, yeah, like we were talking about with Magnolia about how like so many situations would have been different with like more cell phones or more Google. Mallrats is much more so because like all of that would have been dealt with via text. Nobody would have left their pajamas.
Exactly.
Right? Like, both breakups would have been like fully litigated via like, you know, shady Insta posts and text messages, and nobody would have gone outside.
So no, I actually think the two guys would have gone to the mall, but they would just been on their phone the whole time, just tapping away, not talking to each other in any way.
Doing at the mall, like
it's something to do. Do you want to get out of your house? I mean, I used to do that, or actually I still do that every once in a while. I'm just like, I want to, like, you know how people are just like, just go for a walk. I'm like, if I don't have a destination, I can't just go for a walk.
Oh yeah, no, I hate aimless walking.
So sometimes what I do, I'm just like,
happy.
I'm gonna go to the mall, or I'm gonna go to like the grocery store sometimes, and just like buy random things.
But you have a destination. Like, do kids still hang out in malls? I don't think so.
I've seen kids in malls.
Not to the same extent.
Yeah, but sometimes it's more along the lines of an excuse not to be around their parents. So they're not. It's not like in like Mean Girls and Clueless and stuff where they went to the mall and they went shopping and they chit-chatted and meet up with people and stuff. No, I think they go to the mall, they find somewhere to sit, and they hang on their phone with the free Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, I think that's how this movie would have been if it was done now, which is like they go to the mall and it's just shit talking on Twitter or Insta.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. May I say one of the things that I had completely forgotten in the movie that I loved so much was that whole debate about whether the cookie place was in fact part of the food court.
That is also one of my notes.
That I was like just face down in my pillow howling, just like, this is the dumbest conversation that I have like had so many versions of with my nearest and dearest. Like, yeah,
it's true. Yeah.
This is exactly the kind of stupid argument I love to have. And like, you know, you're like, you're true bros when you can like, this is how you spend your time together.
Exactly. It's just like, this is a pointless argument, but I'm going to tell you why I'm right. Let's do this. Like there's no reason Brody should argue that it's not part of the food court. Who cares? But he's just like, no, but it is not part of the food court.
Also, he's right, but also they're both right. Like,
yes.
An argument can be made both ways, so they both make the argument, and then
I do more agree with Brody I do than TS, but
it's more geography. But also TS had a solid argument considering he was wrong. So
that's very true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Because you can see how he made it. Yeah. Yeah. But also before that, everything you said about like Superman and Lois having bib, it's true. I completely agree. That's why it blows my mind every time you see like a storyline where Lois has Superman's baby. I'm just like, no, that's craziness.
No. Has Twilight taught people nothing? There's no, this cross species shit is no good.
Oh yeah, she almost dies and then she gets turned into a vampire, right? Why do I know these things when I haven't even watched
I've never really actually taken in the Twilight, but I think there's an extraction. Anyway, whatever. No.
Wait, you haven't? I actually assumed you'd watch this, not because you think it's quality programming, but generally because don't you like those shitty movies sometimes?
So I can't even take offense to that because I still love Riverdale. But yes, I love trash. I love it. It is like my favorite thing. If it seems like the writers were in full on like, all right, hold my beer mode, then it's probably for me.
Yeah.
Twilight is just bad.
Okay. Yes.
Like, it's a weird Mormon abstinence parable. It is like bad messaging. It is bad writing. It is bad casting. It is bad lighting. Like, ow. 150-year-old virgin watches high school girls sleep while he has odd structural hair and is in grayscale-ish, except his lips. Like, no, miss me with that shit.
Yeah, like,
no.
I regularly say this, like, if I haven't watched it, I'm not allowed to critique it, is one thing I like to tell myself. So I honestly don't have an interest in Twilight, but I also honestly want to watch it just so I can like actively shit talk it. But I don't have like, what is it, like 8 hours or whatever? Like I don't have that time.
You know what? I thought I should like read the books, and I was like, because I mean, I like obviously I have opinions about it, obviously. And a lot of it is just like, have teenage girls not been fucked over enough? Like, do we really have to, lionize predators to that extent? Like, that's brutal.
Yeah.
But also I was like, I should really read these books. I just like kind of hadn't gotten around to it. And then for reasons that don't need explanation, I was in a Walmart in Kenora, Ontario, and I needed something to read. And I picked up a copy of whatever the first book is. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And then as I was like about to move away from that aisle, I actually like read the back cover, and I was like, the copy on this is so bad that I cannot in good conscience spend $7 on it. Like I literally can't get past what the publisher thought they should put on the back as a blurb. I was like, okay, no.
And back on the shelf you go.
Yeah, yes. Back on the shelf. I'm just gonna like moonwalk out of there and maybe sanitize. Like, and then also it spawned 50 Shades, which is like even more of a horrible messaging disaster.
Yes. I did watch the first movie and I hate myself for it because the fuck?
I made it through the first chapter and then I was like, I literally can't do this. I have to go shower.
Yeah, he's predatory and it's gross, and
it's both. They're gross. It's just like, yeah, manipulation jamboree of horror, and I can't.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I put that to an end real quick.
Like, again, like, as I was saying about, like, the beginning of Mallrats, like, I don't love that these guys who, like, do the least are, getting the girls because they think it's okay because they've done one thing, whatever. Like, those relationships are not the best, and probably they are not that happy going forward, but whatever. At least they're not, like, actual predators.
Well, to be honest, TS, and what is Claire Forlini's character's name? I don't even know. Okay. Brandy. Like, she doesn't actually say, like, their relationship isn't bad. Like, she doesn't give proper examples of why their relationship is bad. But you understand them breaking up at the beginning because you're just like, you don't seem to care. You're not listening to me. What is your problem? Please leave, is essentially what happens. But Renee, Shannon Doherty's character, gives very clear examples as to why she's breaking up with Brody. And so
she writes a whole letter. He frames it and everything.
Yeah. And I'm like, why are you getting back together with him? And she's like, I love the word that we don't ever use anymore. And I'm just like, all I can think of is just like, but why? No, like I know this is just like the happy movie ending, so they have to get together.
Well, yeah,
but in reality, she'd get up and be like, "Go fuck yourself."
Right. I mean, whatever. Obviously, like they've been broken up for like 6 hours or whatever.
That's true. Yes.
And also fucked in the elevator in the interim. So, like, does that restart the clock? I don't know. Whatever. 4.5 hours after their breakup, he does something like very, very charming and whatever. So, okay, yeah, she's like, she's into that, whatever. And also, her date has been proven to be
a whore. Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, so like obviously they're gonna, get down that night, but also like, is that the foundation for an ongoing relationship?
It's not.
I'm not really sure. I mean, it's the foundation for what a lot of relationships look like, but whether that's a good idea or not, less clear.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty bad idea, to be honest. Yeah.
I mean, whatever. The entertainment industry does not model good relationships, like as a rule. They almost never.
Surprisingly, yes, that is correct.
Lots of toxic nonsense everywhere. And like, yeah, TS and Brandy might make it if they get away from her father.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I don't know.
And as long as he isn't selfish about his wants compared to her wants.
Yeah, well, I mean, they seem to have come to some sort of agreement because they got married in front of Jaws, which was funny.
After graduation, like he said they would. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I did kind of dig that because it sort of seemed like she must have been all the way on board if that was what was happening, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and yeah, I mean, the implications at the beginning of the movie were like, no girl would ever find that romantic, and like that's not true.
No. There are some people who don't like the same things as quote unquote typical women. Like, you know how like when they're in the elevator, Renee's like bitching, like I don't know when we go shopping, we go places like with you and stuff, and she's like ranting on like, no, you took me here, and then she starts saying the thing about the comic books. I mean, they're obviously talking about the Amalgam series and all that kind of stuff with the variant covers, and I was just like, I would care. I would like to be there. That would have been great.
Yeah, that's the thing is like there are people like you can have a partner who shares your interests, and you can be respectful of the times when your interests don't overlap. Like there's no, and
there's nothing wrong with that. But I think this is a problem with a lot of people have is that they, like the media presented to them or things, how women are shown as women. They're just like, no, a woman isn't supposed to like these things. Therefore, if I like these things, what am I? And people get confused and they get depressed and all this kind of stuff because they're not being allowed to be who they are. And then when they do finally get there, and then you get like the toxic male people and like, the people who are like gatekeeping of something.
Oh my God.
And you're just like, just let people like what they like.
Yeah.
If they say they like it, just be like, okay, I like it too. And then you talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, don't quiz them and then tell them if they get an answer wrong that they're not a real fan. I'm like, but why does that not make them a fan? They know about it. They like it. Let it be.
My favorite ever example of that in my personal life was a dude in my hockey pool. I smoked everyone in the first round of the playoffs. Like they mathematically could not come back in my first year in my hockey pool. And even years later, he still is like not over it, which is hilarious too. But it's just like, oh, but like you just guessed, right? I was like, it's fantasy hockey. Literally everyone was guessing. That's how fantasy sports work. Like he just couldn't, he just thought I don't know, threw a dartboard at it. Chart or something.
Well, I mean, you're a girl and it's hockey, so you can't make, he
literally just was like, it must have been totally random, right? It's like, no, no, I made a series of excellent choices and smoked your ass. Yeah. sorry, not sorry.
Yeah. No, my thing is with like nerd fandoms. Like I still remember I was in high school. Yes, I was in high school. I was talking to this guy and we were talking about Wolverine. And I was just like, no, Wolverine is this and this is what's happening and blah, blah, blah. And this was right around the time where he had his adamantium removed and he got went feral and everything. And he was talking about that. And I was just like, yeah, that did happen, but then, you know, these 5 other things happened right after that. So he does have his adamantium back. But he's like, no, he's not. He only had bone claws and blah, blah, blah. This is before like Origin came out, which he originally had bone claws and all that kind of stuff. And literally the next day I walked in, I'm like, here's the comic book. Flip page over here. I know what I'm talking about. And that was the first time I was accepted as a nerd because I showed them the nerd thing to prove I was a nerd. Yeah. But until I proved it, I wasn't allowed to like comic books or Wolverine because I was a girl and girls don't do that.
Yeah. No. And like, yeah, media is very damaging in the sense that like, yeah, either like, it's like there are things that you're allowed to like as a girl, or you're like not a typical girl, which is like, I don't need to compete with people who have like, you know, lash extensions and can keep their nail polish on for more than 2 days. Like, whatever. No, girl, if you want it, do it. But I'm not that girl. But also
or like the comment that is supposed to be a compliment but isn't a compliment. Like when the nerd, the hot guy likes the nerd girl and he's like, "You're not like other girls."
Like other girls, yeah.
Really? Like that's not a compliment.
Having worked in male-dominated music industry for a decade, like, yeah, sometimes it was better when people just forgot I was a girl, but also like, yeah, you're not like other girls. Setting oneself up as I'm not like other girls, toxic.
Yes,
super toxic.
It is. Yeah. No,
again, but there's nothing wrong with being like other girls.
But for a very long time, especially like our generation was like,
oh yeah,
you know, not being like other girls is actually a compliment. That means you're special. I'm like, no, that's not what that means. That's not what that means at all. If you want to say someone is special, just tell them they're special. But to single them out from part of their identity is not a compliment.
Healthy, it's not complimentary, good. No matter who's thinking it or saying it is no good. Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. What else do I have here?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, this movie is in a lot of ways just like stereotypes on parade, but also it manages to be like woke enough to be super charming about it. So like,
okay. So talking about being woke and super charming, like the story Brody tells about like the spooning and his arm placement, and then the cashier gets it and cries and walks away. I was just like it's I mean,
a relationship I can't figure out what to do with it. Yeah,
exactly. And it's just like it's not a typical way somebody would describe, you know, you wanting to be close, but also there's a distance. Yeah. But at the same time, like he says it perfectly. And I love that his 2 friends are just like, that doesn't make sense. Because they've obviously not experienced that. But the cashier was just like, I know what this is.
Oh God.
I know what this is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is really good.
That was great. Yeah. I don't know why I forgot about that scene, but that scene is so good. Like it's so perfect.
But also it's so funny because Brody like talks so much shit, right? But then every once in a while he says something that you're just like, oh, direct shot. Shit.
Yes. I mean, they do comment on that when they're in like the flea market and stuff.
Well,
and,
yeah,
like,
he straight up is just like, wait, you're listening to me? I'm just talking all this trash.
He's like, every once in a while you drop a nugget of truth, and it's true. That's what he does.
It's true.
Yeah, like 80% of the stuff he says, like throw it out, you know, but you know, that 20% that's there, you're just like, yeah, okay, that's good.
Like just because he's loud doesn't mean he's wrong. Yeah. Also, the topless psychic was one of the things that like I thought it was hysterical the first time. I thought it was hysterical the most recent time. Like she's so great.
She's so good. What was really funny about it was like, so Brody makes a comment like octopusy in here, you know, and I was just like, oh, that's a throwaway dirty joke. He's being weird and whatever. But no, the lady who plays Ivana, Priscilla Barnes, was actually in a James Bond movie, which was License to Kill. But so there is an actual Bond reference in there.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I went and looked it up because I was just like, no, that's like a I would actually expect him to say like, you know, something lame like Arabian Nights or like Aladdin or something. Like, but sure. Octopussy was like overly specific. But Octopussy does take place in like the Middle East, and there are lots of like drapes and carpets and whatever. I forget where that movie actually takes place. So I get it, but I thought it was really funny.
I've had the pleasure, but yes,
that I just thought it was very funny that she was actually in a Bond movie. So
yeah, that's great. And yeah, also I felt I thought that scene was like extra special hilarious. I don't think I clocked this the last time I watched this movie, but like, because he like Brody's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna Ivanka or whatever, but like he's obviously never seen her. Like he's obviously never actually like ponied up the cash to go see her because he's like shocked and appalled by the third nipple.
But I also think it's just like he would never go there by himself because he's not a creep, you know. But if he's taking his friend,
it's just no. But it's funny because he's like, oh, so okay, that's not how I was thinking of it. I was thinking of it as like he's been too cheap to do it. Now he's like, oh, his friend is in distress and he can like, you know, get him some quote unquote good advice and also like, you know, see some tits and cool. But then he like. Yeah, he just like super can't handle it, and you know his buddy is enlightened, so it all works out beautifully. But also, it's like if you've been like lightly peeping this topless psychic long enough that all the like dudes in the flea market know your name, but you've never coughed up to just like see her tits, even though that's like a perfectly rational transaction. Like, no fucking wonder you got dumped, dummy. Like, good God.
Yeah, I think it's just an experience he didn't want to do by himself. Not maybe it isn't because he thinks other people think he's creepy. It might be that he's cheap, but also I'm just he's not a like I'm not gonna do this by myself.
But he's never recruited a friend to split it just because like this is like obviously a long-term thing because again all the dudes at the flea market know him like. He's a regular and he's been scoping this shit out. And now he's just like, oh, my buddy is like emotionally vulnerable. I better hit his wallet and his like heartstrings. Like I would like to just believe he's cheap.
or it could also be that he's never thought of a proper question to ask, go in and ask her and doesn't want to be like, show me your boobs.
That doesn't sound like Brody.
That doesn't sound like Brody now that I've said it. That's true. Okay,
I mean, he's got a lot of faults, but being up front isn't really on the list.
He is very cheap. He spent half the movie with like the tiny sample cup going to places getting drinks.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have a job, so he has to be cheap because
But also, he has a crazy comic book collection. But he's been collecting since he was a kid, so it's fine.
Also, that's only valuable if he sells them, which is never going to happen. So
no, yeah, my mom has tried to get me to sell my comic books. I'm just like, no, I've read these. I like them. I reference them. What are you talking about?
That's not how this works.
That's not how this works at all. No, not at all. No. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also did like this. Reminded me like when Stan Lee showed up.
Stan Lee.
I know he looks so young.
I know he's so young and spry. I couldn't. Yes. I was just yeah. And so I was just thinking, like, oh yeah, in his last
his last cameo that wasn't animated, he shows up in Captain Marvel and he's reading the Mallrats script.
Yeah.
When he's on the bus, that's what he's reading. And I was just like, oh, that's so cute.
Things. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm like an MCU nerd. I'm not even a comics nerd, but Stan Lee walked by me one time at Fan Expo and I was just like,
well, the one time I could have gotten to see him, he didn't show up because he was not feeling well. And I was just like, I've missed it. And then he never came back. It's the last chance I had.
It was Fan Expo a bunch of years ago. And I like, this was, even before I was an MCU nerd, I think, but I was still like, that's fucking Stan Lee. But also, he just like walked by me and I was like, that's so cool. And then like 3 minutes later, Hulk Hogan tried to walk by me, but he like moves like he's animatronic because he just like fucked himself so badly. And I was just like, isn't Stan Lee like 90 and Hulk Hogan like 65? Because Stan Lee looks like he could kick that guy's ass. Like, this is awkward and weird.
It's what you do to your body, man. It's what you do to your body.
Seriously. Yeah. It was a very interesting and stark contrast, we'll say.
So a question that was asked in the movie: what comic character, if you could be any comic book character, what comic book character would you want to be? It's too difficult. There's too many out there as well.
I don't know. Well, this is my current answer. It's not my final answer. I reserve the right to, make changes or whatever later. Also, I don't read comics, so, take that into account.
Well, okay. Based on comic book
movies.
I know.
No. I mean, I know a lot of comic book characters between movies and reasons. And, but, yeah, I mean, that's a tough question because obviously there are pros and cons of all of them.
Yeah. And there's so many, many. Yes.
But I'm going Captain America.
Of course you are. I'm not surprised, but yes.
Okay. Well, why do you think I said that?
Because you love Captain America.
Well,
but also he's kind of great, like personality wise and nice. Okay. He uses his power justly, things like that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
So wait.
No, I think
so. Okay. The way you asked me, why did you pick Captain America?
Well, I think I don't know. I mean, I think he has such like an incredible origin story, right? Being like small and powerless and unremarkable and getting an opportunity to, reverse all of those things, right? Like, and I mean, obviously the American thing is not ideal.
Yes.
but here we all are. But I don't know. And like, obviously he went through some incredible nonsense. And I would like to think that if I became Captain America, I would handle my fucking PTSD before it, leveled cities and whatnot. But I mean, imagine having the kind of lifespan where you could watch literal generations as they develop. I mean, I can talk shit about Gen Z all I like, but like I'm fascinated by what they're getting up to, and like, having that kind of extended lifespan and having the ability to like the strength and the also like the mental acuity and the skills to like make a real strategic difference in world conflicts and have people listen to you and whatever. And like, I don't know, maybe it's anti-feminist of me because there are so many amazing like female superheroes, but also like a lot of them are written by men. And so
which make them not great characters.
Right. So their limitations are obvious to me because I am an actual facts woman, despite not being a superhero. And also like, imagine just, deciding you want to make a difference and walking into a room and people just listen to what you're saying instead of asking you questions and trying to undermine you and interrupting you and whatever. Like, holy shit. How great would that be?
That's in any context. Because he's a man, though.
That like, yeah. So
yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And like in a world where the superheroes that we know and love actually exist and we're like whole people and not written by men, like probably there are several of those ladies I'd love to take for a spin, psychically speaking. Or I mean, I suppose physically also, but that's a whole different conversation. Yeah. But like, yeah, I don't know. It seems like going from somebody who was so powerless and unremarkable to being so powerful and having a seat at the table and a voice that can be heard, like who wouldn't want that?
It's it's great. Yeah. That is very true.
Yeah. And I mean, he's a bit of a pain in the ass, but that's like usually harnessed for good.
Yeah, I wouldn't call him a pain in the ass. I think he's a pain in the ass for people who like to take shortcuts or want quick way out. But I don't think he's really a pain in the ass.
Oh, I mean, once he's a superhero, yeah. I mean, Steve Rogers, like separate from Captain America, Steve Rogers was a colossal pain in the ass, right? Like,
yes.
Yes. He was always shouting at somebody about something, which like they deserved, but also, yeah, he could only be the thorn in somebody's side until he got big enough that he could just deal with it.
Exactly. Yes. No, that's a good answer. I like it. Well fired out. Beautiful.
Yeah, he's smart. He's respectful. He like understands what it is to be powerless, so he doesn't take advantage of having power. Like,
but I think that's one of the reasons why people love that character so much. It's because of those things. No.
Yeah. And like the history of the character is fascinating, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm into it.
Agreed. Yes.
Also, getting close with Bucky Barnes wouldn't hurt my feelings. Those two were great friends.
Great friends. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Just do not go to any fan fiction sites and look up the shipping. It's no.
That would be wrong.
That would be so wrong.
They are extremely platonic as a duo. Yes.
They are best friends.
I mean, whatever. Either way, yeah. The headcanon's all good. But but yeah.
Yeah.
So
I liked it.
I tried. Yeah. I took a whole 2 minutes to contemplate it. So Tracy, if you could be any superhero, who would you be?
Kind of wish you didn't ask me that because it's a very difficult question to answer. But also, I want to be a person with like a relatively frivolous power, just so I can have fun with it, like Jubilee or Dazzler or something. Or I'm just like, I make light sparkle.
My actual superhero wish is to be Frylock, because can you imagine if you could just explode like 1 centimeter of anything that you could see?
Yeah.
Can you imagine what sort of havoc you could wreak like on the TTC if people were being rude or whatever? Like, like, oh yeah.
No, I want to be a traveling like disco party and wear glitter head to toe and stuff like that. I mean, I always thought it'd be really cool to be like Storm or something, with like the powers of the weather and stuff, and make sure I have like nice days all the time and everything. But
excessive responsibility though. Now this is the problem. Change is like really, working us. Like, yeah, a storm might be perfectly rational for the thing you're doing, but did you just like accidentally fuck a farmer's crops for 6 months? Like, yikes.
Exactly. What's her name? Who's the new one? There's that's the wrong one. There's new lady Iron Man who's also really cool.
Oh,
what is her name again? Because so when they first introduced her, she's called Ironheart. And like she's like this super genius prodigy Black woman, big hair and stuff, and like she takes over the character. Cool. And like I've only read literally one comic of it, and it was digitally, so I don't even have a actual comic book.
Yeah,
which is sad and depressing to me, really, because
sure,
I don't know, like I like with reading books on like tablets and stuff. I totally get it. I understand it, but there's a difference in the tactileness of flipping pages and the, seeing the things. I don't know.
See, I would say those are two very different things, because like having any book that I need in the immediacy, like on my phone, is amazing. And I love my Kobo, but like if I have something that like has illustration, like a comic, like I would never want to read a comic on a Kobo. That seems terrible.
Well, you can get like digital subscriptions to like Marvel.
Oh no, I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying it seems terrible.
Yeah, like, and that's the thing. Like for me,
like comic, like anything with art, just like I love, like I'm not like a vinyl person, but if I really, really love an album, I will like buy the vinyl because MP3s like are nice, but I want to see the art and the lyrics and shit, right? Like
exactly, yeah. But the half the time now, you don't even get that stuff when you buy vinyl or CDs anymore. You get like a picture on the front and then the disc, and you're like, oh, okay. It's not fun. It's so sad. Remember when you used to get like stuff, like remember like there's like, I think it's the Information, like the Beck album, you got the book and had all the lyrics, but you also got like a pack of stickers with it and stuff.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
There's like a poster in the back and whatever, like woo.
I just had a work situation where I needed to know something, and I was like, literally the files and the internet cannot help me. What I need is the Caillou CD that I like put in a box and sent to storage because I don't have an office right now. It's like, fuck.
They're like, I just need to open it. And
I just need to like slip the little, I had like 3 Baker's boxes worth of them that sat next to my next to my desk for 5 years. And I'm like, I just need one of those. And I didn't keep one of those because I didn't think I would ever need one, but now I need one. Damn it. I can't believe Google fucked me that way. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with Google. So, like Google's a really great tool and everything, but sometimes if you don't know what you're looking for or don't know how to word it in a way that you'll get what you're looking for.
Just like people haven't uploaded the information. Like,
yeah, there's also that problem.
It's not there. Like, yeah. Anyway, this is an extremely weird niche problem, but also like, God fucking damn it.
I mean, it's true. Like, we think like everything's at our fingertips, but no, everything that's at our fingertips, somebody put there. And if somebody hasn't put it, then it's just not there. Right?
The number of times that like I, as the person in charge of a piece of music, have to seek out fans on the internet to figure out like some aspect of it is non-zero. I hate it, but also thank you, fans.
Yes, fans get into it, man.
You got the folks who like put that stuff on wikis and whatever, where I'm just like, oh, thank God somebody knows, because I don't.
Yeah, sometimes I think I'm just like, no, I'm asking. This is the first time somebody's ever asking this question, and then you get like 10 million results in 0.8 seconds, and you're just like, oh, okay, never mind. Click. Yeah, at least I got my answer. Awesome, you know.
Yeah,
it's good. I love it that way. Also, the other thing I love about this movie is the song Suzanne by Weezer. I think 4 years before I saw this movie, my friend, like, they had already put out the Blue album, I think. And Sarah was just like, Weezer is like the greatest band ever. And I was like, whatever, it's rock music. And then I saw this movie and I heard the song Suzanne and I was like, maybe I'll give him a shot. And I did.
Right.
All good. Yeah.
Weezer is one of those bands that like, I do not believe I've ever owned any of their output, but also I somehow know it all. It just kind of like happens. And like, you know, friend of the podcast, Leah, has been my bestie for years. And, but like, while we were busy living like amusingly parallel lives as teenagers in Toronto, we were definitely both at the same Weezer show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I may have been at that show with you, by the way. So, you know.
Did the opener not show up? So we stood in line for like 3 hours longer and then got into the show and then it was a whole mess?
I have no idea. I went into several of their shows.
Okay. Well, this one was a particularly memorable one because it was like a hot garbage mess.
Oh. I believe I've never been to one of their shows where it was a mess. I remember going to the one where they had the big W that was on fire. And we were like in the grass and we were feeling the heat. And I was just like, they're on stage beside this. Oh my God. It was nuts. Yeah.
Yikes.
That was the one. That's the one I remember the most. Because I remember just feel like, because it was Molson Amphitheater.
Oh, yeah.
And you know how they have like the seating on a thing and then they have the grass. We were in the grass and we were feeling the heat.
You should not be able to feel any kind of pyro on the lawn. That is a safety violation of the highest order.
It was so wrong. We're just like, they're dying up there, right? They're gonna die. And yes. At least they didn't keep it on for the whole show. It was on and off randomly for certain parts of the songs and stuff.
Right.
So it was fine,
when the band members start to look a little tanned, you just turn on that accelerant. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yes. Anyways, but that's all of my notes. I think we've managed to cover the things.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, again, it was such a like weird mix of like totally woke and totally disastrous because 90s, but it was like for a 90s movie, fairly enlightened.
Very little offensive things. Like,
although actually though, when we're on the subject of things that are somewhat like terrible, because you know, what's his nuts got busted for nailing a 15-year-old somewhere uncomfortable, but then the security guard was still there like when she was 18 and they were obviously together, and that was kind of skeevy.
Was it that they were together, or was he treating her like a daughter?
Well, I hope not, because she fucked him to distract him.
She fucked him to distract? Wait, what?
Didn't she?
No.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe on the version you watched, because remember, we watched two different versions, because the one we watched, she did not fuck him to distract him at any point.
Oh, what happened in your version? Why did he not like bust onto the stage and deal with the love shack shit?
No, so what happens was when the stage gets taken over and they're playing the video, the cops had already been called and a bunch of cops showed up and stormed the stage, not LaFours.
Well, no, but I mean, before the cops showed up, like Brody, I think, tells her to distract LaFours, and then
she, in the one I watched, she was sent home to get the tape, and when she shows back up, she just hands it to
Silent Bob.
No, not Silent Bob. She gives it to
Jay. To Jay to get to Silent Bob. Get
to Silent Bob, and she's just like, you know what? I'm gonna go home because I'm afraid. I think I know what you're gonna do with it, and I don't want to be around for it. And she leaves.
Oh yeah, no. Somebody, now I don't remember because I didn't take notes, but somebody like grabs her and is like, you have to distract that guy. No, she for sure like, no. She nails him. Yeah,
I'm very happy I didn't watch this version.
Yeah, because at some point like something happens, shouting starts or whatever, and he like pops up, and then you see her hand like reach up and like grab him again, and then that was not a parental shit that was happening at her book signing. That was
because in the end, like, so he takes over her security at the book signing. And to me, it came across more along the lines of, I'm protecting this young, impressionable lady.
I did not make that up. That was a different storyline in the extended edition. Here we are.
Yes. Yeah. And I think,
I think that was much more sinister. I mean, it makes sense that in the original cut, they would make it not that one pedophile got busted and the other one gets a job. Because that's gross.
That's very gross.
Actual parental role models. Not
because they do say it's just the next year, but she's still only 16, and that's all. Ugh. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not thinking about it. I don't want to think about it. It's so
I don't know.
Gross.
Whatever. Her publishers are going to hell. All of it's terrible.
Yeah. But also, but it's true. Like her publishers gave her like $20,000 on like a treatment of the book she's gonna write, but at the same time, like, she's an underage child, and you know what you're paying her to do, right? Like,
well, also she's not legally allowed to sign a contract, which means her parents must have signed off on it. So,
well, they do. She does say that they ask her if her parents know about it, and she's like, yeah.
Like, well, because they have to legally.
But it's still gross. You think about it, it's still gross. It's back to the adults taking advantage of a child instead of protecting them. Like, yes, she's a smart girl and everything, but that's no reason to be just like, let her do whatever she wants, because ew.
Because whatever she wants and whoever she wants are different. Yipe.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed. Also, what is the title of her book again? Because it's hysterical.
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, it was funny.
Because also, like, I mean, you know, obviously she's got some things going on and she needs some therapy, just like everyone else in this movie. But also, like, if you're only 16 and you've hooked up with that many dudes and like none of them could get the job done, like, dear Jesus, I want better for you, honey.
Seriously. I have no way to look this up in a way that it'll just come out immediately.
No. It's fine. It doesn't matter. But I'm sad for her that her experiences have been so lackluster.
Yeah.
Because
it did not look like she was having fun.
No. And I mean, to be fair, like, as a person who sometimes hooked up with teenage boys in the 90s, they're not an impressive species. So, like, I got you, girl. But
because wasn't she saying something like it was boys between the ages of like 13 and 45 or something? And I was just whoa, no, we're not doing this. It's all kinds of wrong.
I mean, the teenage ones were bad enough, but also, though, you'd think that the older men would have skewed it in a positive direction, but it didn't.
No. No,
she still couldn't get good head or any head. She was fishing way outside the appropriate ages.
So anyways, I don't know why we're back on the subject again. But anyways.
Listen, the 90s were rough. Apparently dudes weren't given head and didn't know how to dress themselves, and girls were like stuffing themselves into button fly high-waisted jeans and generally being miserable. So
and they accepted this as life, and then they wonder why grunge was one of the most popular types of music in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm fucking over it. And also I can like, feel my legs again. Hey.
So anyways, well, I don't know. I don't think I have anything else to say about these two movies. No. Do you have any final thoughts?
No. I mean, both excellent movies in radically different fashions and both somewhat trying to watch as a person who's no longer in the 90s, but experienced that on the first go around.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I find Magnolia was trying to watch, but no, Mallrats. If you watch the original theatrical cut, very easy to watch.
Well, no, Magnolia was trying to watch when it came out, and it was trying to watch now because that's like the kind of movie it is. Mallrats, like, it was trying to watch in the sense that, like, again, like, I'm a grown up now, so some burnout who's like, yeah, sleep. We're going on vacation, but sleep under the bed in case my mom comes in. Like, that's not going to spark joy, yeah. But also, it's like, I'm rooting for you, but also I kind of want to punch you in the face. So well, from my adult perspective, this movie is slightly less charming than it was, but also it's so fucking aggressively charming that I still love it to tiny pieces. So, yes.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you on all of the notes.
Also, I'd date T.S. He's a cutie.
He is, but he's also much more sensible than Brody. So, well, like, T.S. doesn't come across as a loser. Brody does, no. And not because of his nerdiness. It's just he seems like an asshole. Like, no,
he's kind of a dickhead, and he's like pretty committed to doing the least. So, I mean, do you, bud? But don't drag a girl down with you.
Exactly. And I don't know, but he ends up on the Tonight Show, and she ends up being the leader of her band. So
that is kind of hilarious. Yeah,
it does work out well. It's great. Anyways, well, thank you so much for being here this week.
Always fun. This was a particularly hilarious combination of movies.
Yes. I
mean, it's no Dracula and Down with Love, but it's still a whole situation.
We still get to talk about, fashion sense and very questionable things with a young girl. So, yeah.
At least this time, neither of them were like gunning for another decade. They were just like a massive product of their time.
That's true. That's very true.
So, yes.
Yeah. I mean,
historical accuracy. Yipe.
Oh my God. Yes. I did enjoy rewatching these movies. Definitely Mallrats, but Magnolia it's just stressful. So enjoy is a strong term to use about rewatching it.
It's shocking to realize how much less anxiety I had when I watched that the first few times.
And you're like, I wonder what has changed since that time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I used to be a very chill person. And then at some point, well, that stopped being true. So my last viewing of Magnolia was well on the other side of that line. Yeah. So it was a whole new experience. But a lot of beautiful brilliant actors doing very terrible things to each other.
And a couple of very cool scenes. Like the scene where I didn't talk about this. The scene where the ambulance flips over and they show the guy being thrown and all the things coming out. It's just the way they filmed it is very cool. Yeah. Like they actually tipped it and everything to film it, but it's very cool.
It was that whole storyline was a little Hannibal for me. It was cool. That was that kind of like slow motion, intense disaster situation. That's that's what it made me think of.
Yes. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much again for being here.
Always a pleasure.
Well, that's it for this episode of Off My Shelf. Until next time, you can follow along on Instagram and Twitter at ohmyshelf, or you can send an email to ohmyshelf@gmail.com. On the next episode, we'll be talking about The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Man on Fire. Hope you'll be here to listen.